This story opens in a freezing cave on an icy mountain. Zeke Draker's in a rough spot, surrounded and outnumbered. These goons are grilling him. Where's the ancient relic? But Zeke's not spilling. He's beat up, missing his hands but still smirking like a total Chad, throwing shade. Would you be dumb enough to do that if you were in my place? One of the goons snaps, calling him an arrogant weasel. Oof, direct hit. The calmer goon holds his buddy back, pulling out a glowing crystal to call the main squad. We've got the Northern Phantom. Confirm coordinates. Response comes quick. They're on their way. While they wait, they wonder what his deal is, why he's chasing the same relic as the Emperor. Like, who does this guy think he is? One figures Zeke is just being a pest and they're gonna make him regret it. They decide to have some fun before backup arrives, promising to make him beg for mercy. To pick who gets first dibs, they flip a coin. One goon's yelling, "Heads, I'm up first," as the coin glints midair. But hold up, Zeke ain't just sitting there. Using his teeth, he grabs his severed hand like a total madman. Then, boom, he jams it back onto his arm, swearing he won't go down powerless. That's some next-level grit. Flashback time, Zeke's life zooms by. Born into the Draker house, a legendary dragon-slaying fam, he had big shoes to fill. But here's the kicker. He was their first failed awakener, unable to use aura to boost his strength. Total bust. Kicked out and treated like trash, Zeke clawed his way through life, grinding to get stronger. Talk about a rough start. Someone once told him, if all you do is chase strength, you'll end up with nothing. That's something a privileged idiot would say. Zeke knows the weak get stomped on and robbed in this brutal world. Harsh truth. Back to the cave, the goons are still messing with their coin toss. It lands. Heads. One dude's cheering like he won a jackpot. But Zeke's already moving, slicing the guy's head clean off with a single swing. Absolute menace. He spins to the other goon, who's barely got time to blink. Zeke's in his face, dropping him before he can even flinch. What a combo. Backup's rolling in as Zeke casually reattaches his other arm, thinking, guess I'm not sneaking out quietly, cool as ice. His enemies are shook, whispering, did he just reattach his arm? They're calling him an irregular, a straight-up monster. Rumor has it, though, chopping his head off might do the trick. They launch a full-on assault, and Zeke's a whirlwind of steel, cutting through waves of foes. But the numbers are overwhelming. He finally drops to his knees, impaled by a dozen swords surrounded by bodies. Man's fought like a legend. Coughing up blood, he feels life slipping away. Looks like he won't be able to take his revenge now. Bummer. But wait, a flicker of satisfaction hits. Zeke did snag that relic the Emperor wanted. At least that's something. Suddenly, the relic in his hand explodes in golden light, blinding him. A voice booms in his head, your strong will can awaken ancient power. The soul of an elder dragon is tied to the one who never quits. Deep stuff. System messages flood his vision. Urgent measure activated. The voice keeps asking Zeke Draker, do you agree? He's like, probably just death messing with me, brushing it off. Annoyed, he snaps, shut up and do whatever. Then bam, another message. Awakener's agreement confirmed. Irreversible power activating. A countdown kicks off. That's the last thing he remembers before blacking out. Cliffhanger much? Zeke wakes up, staring at a younger version of himself in a mirror. What the heck? He checks his small, unscarred hands, thinking, did I go back in time? No way. The pain of those swords still lingers, so it feels too real to be a dream. The room feels familiar. He's back in the cradle, the Draker household's training hub. Memories of his family, the epic dragon's lairs, hit hard. Their founder was the hero Terrakin Draker, who saved the continent by slaying the evil dragon Bahamut 1,000 years ago. All of Terrakin's descendants, except Zeke, could awaken powerful auras and become knights. Talk about being the odd one out. Then, boom. A system message pops up, administration system restarting. Zeke jumps like, did I hear that right? He's alone and the messages keep coming. Soul of the Awakener confirmed, 100% aligned. Merged with the Elder Dragon's will. Totally wild. You've got partial system authority, Zeke Draker, it says. A status window activates and blue screens flood his vision. He's thinking, did some artifact get activated? The screen lists, name Zeke Draker. Title, the one who received the blessing of the ancient dragon. Class, healer rare. The navigation is similar to magic videos, he thinks. He's studying the screen, taking it all in. Class skills? That's a really ancient term he hasn't heard in a long time. His old master once told him about this ancient system where people got classes and skills based on talent. Turns out he was a healer, he could use healing. He remembers the brutal training he went through with his master. She'd push him to near death, saying his healing would save him. Tough love. Zeke stares at the window, realizing he's already a healer. No way. He decides to test it. In his first life, he didn't unlock his ether hull, his energy core, until his 20s. If this is legit, he is already way ahead of the game. Closing his eyes, he focuses and boom, a surge of purple energy bursts out. His eyes glow violet, and he's grinning. My ether hall's already unlocked. Jackpot. Then it hits him, his battle-hardened body's gone, but he's back in the past with all his skills and memories. Talk about a game changer. Compared to his miserable first run, he's in a crazy strong spot now. Sitting on his bed, he pulls up the status window to plan his next moves. Gotta max out this second chance. But, knock knock, Master Zeke, may I come in? A voice calls. Zeke panics, fumbling with the glowing screen. He doesn't even know how to hide it. Before he can respond, the voice says, I'm coming in, and the door creaks open. In steps Decker, Zeke's intimidating personal servant, glaring with disapproval. You're not prepared yet? Zeke freezes, hiding the status window behind his back. Prepared for what? He plays dumb, relieved Decker can't see the system. But Decker's aura is heavy, looming like a raid boss. Are you serious, Master Zeke? Even with his 32-year-old mind, Zeke's kid body trembles. Decker's childhood fear factor is no joke. Suddenly, a new window pops up. Class skill composed mind activates. Boom. His panic vanishes. And he's cool as a cucumber. The skill's description says it keeps his mental state rock solid in any situation. Zeke's like, and this kicks in automatically? Nice. Decker sighs, losing patience. I told you this event's important. Are you even listening? But Zeke's unfazed, replying calmly, of course, Decker. You mean the pancreation evaluation test, right? He knows exactly what's up because that memory is burned into his brain. Okay, get this. Every kid in the Draker family gets tossed into a place called the Cradle when they hit 7 years old. It's this intense 5-year training grind at a huge fortress-style school. To figure out who's got the skills, the instructors set up yearly showdowns with sword fights and pancreation, which is basically a no-rules, all-out brawl. Most of the time, instructors decide who fights who, but sometimes, if both kids are down for it, they can challenge each other directly. And trust me, with no rules, things get messy. Kids get hurt bad, and some don't even walk away from it. These fights are everything though, since they decide your rank in the academy later on. It's a savage system where the strong climb over the weak, and these kids have no choice but to go full throttle. That day, head instructor Pan Mark is standing in the middle of a massive arena, looking like he owns the place. He shouts to the crowd, you all know what time it is. Today's the final eval with pancreation. The students in the stands lose it, yelling back, yes sir, with pure hype. Pan Mark just glares and says, alright, no messing around, get ready, we're starting now. The crowd roars again, pumped for the chaos about to unfold. But hold up, there's some chatter in the stands. One kid whispers, yo, it's Zeke. How's he back after getting wrecked last year? I'd have bolted. Another glances at Zeke standing solo and mumbles, how's this dude even in the main bloodline? Feel bad for him. Zeke catches every word, his face stone cold, thinking to himself, I can hear you clowns. Pan Mark's voice booms again, calling out the first fighters. Aaron, Gata, get down here. The two step into the arena, ready to throw down. With a sharp hand chop, the instructor yells, begin, and just like that, it's over in a heartbeat. Aaron dodges a punch, then slams a vicious strike right into Gata's throat. Done and dusted. Pan Mark calls it, Gata's out, Aaron takes the win. Zeke's up in the stands, looking bored out of his mind, even letting out a big yawn. He remembers being scared of this stuff as a little kid, but now, these guys are straight up weak to him. His eyes catch another student, some freckled dude with creepy glowing red eyes, cracking his knuckles with a nasty grin. Soon, it's Zeke's turn. Pan Mark calls out, Zeke, Leon, you ready? Leon's all hyped up, while Zeke just mutters a quiet, yeah. Inside, Zeke's thinking, of course it's gotta be Leon. Leon smirks at him and says, back for more, huh? Guess you didn't get enough of me last year. He remembers Leon's taunting words at the fight last year. Beg if you want to make it out alive, you parasite. A rough memory hits Zeke hard, his younger self bloody and broken on the ground, begging Leon, I'm sorry, Mr. Leon Conrad, please just spare me this once. Leon's been his opponent every year, and he's pretty sure someone's pulling strings to make that happen. The family would probably say that a real dragon slayer would be able to overcome these dirty tricks. Zeke grinds his teeth thinking, why's this jerk gotta be my cousin of all people? There were 4 siblings in the Draker bloodline. Even back in his past life, they never even had a chance to meet. But he had a dozen-plus cousins who were more than happy to make his life miserable. Leon sneers at him now. Gotta hand it to you, Zeke Draker, takes guts to show up after getting smashed last time. He taps his head with a smirk. Or maybe you're just too dumb to learn your lesson. While the trash talk keeps coming, a blue system window pops up in Zeke's mind saying, activating class skill, composed mind. A wave of calm hits him and he thinks, man, it's been forever since I've had to deal with this dude's lame insults. He looks up, dead serious, and says, hey, I'm not playing nice if you call me that again. Leon's caught off guard for a second, then laughs and grabs Zeke's hair, taunting, what you gonna do about it, you worthless trash? Before Pan Mark can even start the match, Zeke makes his move. Another system alert flashes, activating skill, critical strike. It's a D-rank move that deals huge damage but can be countered if it misses. Boom! Zeke's fist crashes into Leon's face with a nasty crunch, blood spraying everywhere. Leon stumbles back, screaming, clutching his messed up face. Zeke glances at his own hand, kinda shocked himself. He just wanted to knock him out, but the skill kicked in on its own. He's realizing he's not fully in control of these new powers yet. Pan Mark is livid, storming over and yelling, "What are you doing, Zeke Draker? You attacked before the start." Zeke just stares at him, cool as ice, and says, "Who's got time for ready, set, go on a real battlefield?" A dark smile creeps across his face, purple energy glowing in his eyes as he adds, "First to hit, always has the edge." Pan Mark steps back, rattled by the raw menace coming off this kid. Leon drags himself up, shaking with rage and pain, choking out, "I'm fine, sir." His face is pure fury as he growls, "Please start the fight. I'm gonna end this worthless punk." Zeke's eyes glow even brighter as he snaps back. "I think you're the one too dumb to learn his lesson." Pan Mark, still shook, finally gives the signal, "Begin." Leon charges, throwing a wild punch with everything he's got. Zeke gets a punch in. Leon thinks to himself in surprise, "I got spooked by that hit for a second, but his punches, they don't even hurt." As they trade shots, Leon figures out that as long as he keeps his guard up, Zeke's no threat at all. But he's watching for one thing, thinking, "Gotta dodge that left-hand counter." He sees it coming from a mile away, shouting in his head, "Way too obvious." He ducks under the punch, grabs Zeke's leg, wrestling him to the ground. He thinks he's got Zeke, but then Leon screams, his face twisting in pain and shock. Zeke's sprawled on the stone floor, but Leon's wobbling. Off to the side, Pan Mark's jaw is basically on the ground, watching this unfold. He's thinking, no way, this combat sense from a 12-year-old kid, as he replays the fight in his head. He remembers a moment where Leon had Zeke locked in a hold, and he was sure Leon had it in the bag. But then, out of nowhere, Zeke stayed cool and blasted a sharp uppercut into Leon's chin, forcing him to let go. Pan Mark's blown away by Zeke's calm under pressure. Even when his first counter didn't work, Zeke didn't flinch, landing a perfect, devastating strike with insane focus. This ain't the scared, weak Zeke he remembers. Leon stumbles back up, dizzy and fuming, trying to get some space. But Zeke comes in with a swift kick. The impact shakes Leon to his core. He's freaking out, thinking, how's this tiny kid so stupidly strong? Leon lunges for another attack, but Zeke easily dodges. He thinks, all right, got my strength under control this time? A system window flashes, activating class skill, heightened senses, boosting all his senses to crazy levels. A small smirk hits Zeke's face as the power kicks in. He's all too familiar with this feeling. He tightens his fist, purple ether swirling around his arm, finally starting to get a grip on this strength. With Leon totally helpless, Zeke grabs him and says, time to end this fight. He hoists his cousin up and with a huge burst of energy slams him into the hard stone floor. Dust and debris fly everywhere from the impact. Before Leon can even process the pain, Zeke's on him again, a system alert popping up, activating skill, precise stab. This move lets him spot weak spots for max damage. He drives his hand into Leon's side, cracking ribs with a sick sound. Zeke's on top of his beaten cousin now, who's completely done, whimpering, "Stop, please." But Zeke's not letting up. His fist glows with purple energy as he leans in and says cold as ice, "Even a moron like you should get the message after this, right?" Then he unloads a brutal flurry of punches, each one hitting with a heavy, nasty thud. He keeps going until Leon's a bloody, unconscious heap, making sure the lesson sticks. Standing over what's left of his cousin, Zeke mutters, "Mess with me and find out." That little workout actually cleared his head. Now he can recognize faces in the crowd. The other kids in the stands are dead quiet, faces pale, caught between shock and straight-up fear. Zeke turns to them, his glowing eyes burning with a cold edge, and calls out, "Stop gawking, got something to say? Come down here." He waves them down with a blood-covered hand, a silent dare to anyone who still thinks he's an easy target. Okay, so the arena is absolutely buzzing. Jaqen Vardek steps up, calls out Zeke Draker, and man, he's got this look like he's ready to throw down right here, right now. "I choose you as my pancration opponent," Jaqen declares. But Zeke? Total ice. He just stares back with a confident stance that screams, "Bring it on." Turns out, Jaqen's another cousin in the mix. Now, Zeke's thinking this one-on-one feels a little boring. Honestly, he wants more hype, more action, so what does he do? He calls out Liam Stone to join the party. Yep, Liam, who's Jaqen's servant and a seriously formidable opponent. Zeke just smirks, totally amused by the setup, probably thinking, all right, now it's a fair fight maybe. Jaqen? Oh man, he is fuming. He feels totally mocked. His pride is through the roof, demanding some respect. Zeke cheekily admits he totally meant to get under Jaqen's skin. What a mad lad. Jaqen snaps. "I'll beat you to death," he screams. Bro is absolutely furious now. Zeke just stays calm though as the countdown kicks off the match. He takes a second, It's kinda wild seeing him here, you know? Liam, the mercenary king. Little flashes of a past life pop up. Liam was Jaken's servant but kinda got shafted on his education cause he was just a distant relative. He had to beg to be led into the higher education academy, Valhalla. He eventually became a knight for a small nation, which totally got wiped out in the war. And that's how he ended up as a mercenary. In times of war, people flock to the strongest. And that's how he became a Red Knight and started his own group, the Stone Mercenaries. He united the 3 largest mercenary groups and was soon called the Mercenary King. Later on, the Empire hired Liam for the Continental Wars, and yep, Zeke had to face him down as a full-on enemy. But hey, Zeke's thinking, maybe things play out differently this time. Alright, match is on. Jaqen charges in like a total bull. Didn't I tell you to come at me together? Zeke glares, Jaqen's punch caught in his fist, but Jaqen snatches his hand away. Do you think I'll play along with your cheap mind games, he yells. He throws a kick and it connects. But wait, shock all over his face. Maybe look before you kick next time? Zeke taunts. Check it, his elbows glowing with some serious power. And Jaqen's leg is throbbing where his kick made contact. You're looking away. Zeke taunts as he glides in smoothly for the attack. He's got his fist glowing with power, ready to attack. Jaqen prepares to block. But hold up, Zeke switches stances mid-strike and deals a blow to the leg instead. Zeke's movements are too slick, pushing Jaqen to his absolute limit, catching him completely off guard. See? Told you should have attacked together, Zeke mocks. You, alone, aren't enough. Zeke smirks as Jaqen coughs up blood. Liam, Jaqen screams. Kill him. Zeke turns, sizing up his next opponent. This guy's only 12 like us, right? Zeke's thinking, staring at this absolute unit of a 12-year-old. He's got that crazy long reach too, making him a serious threat. Zeke knows this. He cannot let Liam set the pace. If Liam gets the first hit, Zeke is toast. Game over. So yeah, he knows he has to go first, gotta take the lead and strike. His skill, slashes, activates. Boom. It's this explosive attack, totally meant to mess with his opponent, throw them off balance. The crowd is gasping. They're seeing a fighting style they've never seen before. And yeah, that's because it's a northern fighting technique, usually only seen way up in the Midlands. But man, Zeke's younger body is already hitting its limits and he feels it. And with Liam's absolutely monstrous physique, dude can probably just tank all these hits without even flinching. Zeke clenches his fists. He's locked in, totally intent on seeing this match through. Okay, new plan, time to break through Liam's defenses. He charges up his fist with ether. Liam braces for the hit, and bam! Zeke sends a ball of ether flying by, but Liam manages to dodge the blow. It's a shock for Zeke. This guy's got some insane instincts. He can't even see ether with his eyes, and yet he managed to evade Zeke's attack. Suddenly, Liam grabs Zeke's arm and tries to yeet him to the ground. But hey, our MC's not giving up so easily. Zeke twists midair and slams a knee into Liam's face. He grabs Liam's arm, heightened senses activates. Oh, you're so done now, bud. He moves with speed that completely catches Liam off guard, and locks Liam in a mighty hold. Doesn't matter how much HP you have if you can't think straight without oxygen, Zeke thinks, but Liam, despite being deprived of air, slams Zeke to the ground and rains blows on him. This crazy dude, Zeke thinks. Liam's eyes glow crimson, pure adrenaline pumping. But Zeke's not giving up either. Yeah, let's see who comes out on top, big guy, he mutters. Now this is a battle of pure endurance, man. Who can last the longest? The crowd is watching, totally holding their breath. This fight is something else, seriously. Even the people just watching are sweating, feeling the heat from this insane battle. But then, suddenly, a limp hand just drops to the floor. And Liam's grip, it releases. He's panting hard. Up in the stands, someone's got a grin. Taking you down is gonna be so worth it, Zeke Draker, mutters a girl with short hair and a seriously crazy laugh. After the match, Zeke heads home. Decker's asking about the match. Did he get hurt? And he's totally playing it cool. He's like, nah, I'm totally fine, don't even worry about it, trying to brush off Decker's concerns. Decker asks if he could check Zeke's pulse, probably to see if our boy Zeke finally awakened his aura or something. Zeke hesitates for a second but eventually gives in and lets Decker do his thing. Suddenly, whoosh, this blue energy surges out. Zeke's eyes are wide. Is Decker some kind of high-level blue knight? This energy examination is super thorough, way more than just checking for awakened energy. Controlling aura to this level? Yeah, Decker's got serious skills. Definitely blue knight material. Quick lore check. Not all knights in the realm are the same, okay? White swordsman is like the total novice level. Most kids start off here at the cradle. Then you hit yellow swordsman once you finally awaken that sweet aura and open your dantian. All trainees of the cradle level up to yellow after the blessing rite. Next up is purple knight. That's next level aura control when you can start reinforcing your sword with aura for extra damage. Blue knight? Now you're talking. That's when you can actually manifest an aura blade. And the absolute max level Liam the Mercenary King and Zeke were at before our MC got isekai'd back in time, that's the Red Knight. Oh, and there's also the super exclusive Black Knight level, but there are only a few of those max level monsters around. Zeke can't help but wonder, how did someone skilled enough to become a commander end up playing babysitter for him? But he stays totally confident. No matter, he thinks, there's no way he can detect my ether. Seriously, using ether is like super rare. Only 2 people in this entire world can even touch it, Zeke and his master. But wait, is Decker maybe picking up on the ether vibe? The tension is thicker than plot armor right now as Decker totally eyes him and asks, "Young master, are you perhaps hiding something from me?" Our boy Zeke flips it back on Decker. He's like, "Nah, maybe you're hiding something?" Then he just plays it off like, "Just kidding." Totally a joke. But Decker's not buying this sudden personality flip. He's asking Zeke why he's acting so different now. And boom, Zeke hits him with the real talk. Decker's not asking the right questions. He should be asking why Zeke only changed now. More changes are coming, and things are about to fall into their rightful place. He asks Decker to just follow his lead. Decker seems to finally get it, and bows deeply. "Yes, master. I understand." Decker announces that the training room Zeke asked for is ready. Zeke thanks him and dismisses the servant. If Decker is a spy, it's way smarter to keep him close and watch him. Alone in the hallway, Zeke's trying to figure out who could have ordered Decker to spy on him. It's probably one of his siblings trying to keep tabs. He steps into his new personal training room, and holy moly, this place is luxurious, totally living up to that rich family name. Before he starts grinding, he decides to check his system. Pop, there it is, showing his current stats. My slash is proficient now, he notes. He's wondering if just using skills actually makes them level up or get stronger. He's trying to figure out how this whole system thing works. If he learns a new skill, will it automatically pop up here? He's also wondering what the difference is between a class and a class skill. Then he spots this super cool draconian skill, but it's locked. Needs 10 karma points just to even peek at it. Karma points? What are those? Looks like you rack them up by taking down monsters. Yeah, there are monsters chilling in the dungeons, but you'd need to be at least a purple knight level to even think about soloing them. He also muses on that ancient relic. Why did he regress back in time, and what is this strange system inside him? His reflection leaves more questions than answers, but Zeke isn't fazed. If it helps him get strong, he'll use it. Whether it's through this weird system or his hidden Draker heritage, he's gonna use everything he's got. Okay, hype pause. Let's do a quick lore dump because this is important. Basically, there are 2 main power systems in this world, the aura of the knights and the mana of the mages. They're total opposites like fire and water, and you absolutely cannot have both inside you. And guess what? Our boy Zeke couldn't awaken either of them back when he was a kid. But during his wandering days, he met his absolute Chad master who taught him about a secret third power, ether, or the energy of nature. His master basically taught him how to harness this cosmic energy. As far as Zeke knows, he and his master are the only 2 ether users on the planet. Fast forward 2 hours, and Zeke is absolutely wiped from training. Like on the verge of collapsing. But then, the status window pops up again, and bam, it activates his healing and recovery skills. Healing? Dude, that's like an ultra-rare S-tier skill. He didn't even know it was possible until he met his master. If anyone knew about his healing powers, they'd totally freak out and probably treat him like some kind of weird outcast. That's exactly why he held back and didn't use it during his epic fight against Liam. He literally had to wait until he was safe back in his room to patch himself up. Even though he's totally spent, he keeps pushing himself until dinner time. He glances at the training room, which is now absolutely wrecked. He has a brief moment of, oh crap, how am I going to explain this mess to Decker? Fast forward a week, and the cafeteria is buzzing. Everyone's whispering about Zeke. Rumors are flying about how he's suddenly become a completely different person. People are seriously wondering if he suddenly picked up black magic or something. The haters and doubters cannot believe this is the same weak kid. But hey, some people are actually hyped, hoping Zeke will stick it to the stronger jerks in the ranks. Over at one table, though, it's a total feast. Someone's slicing into a juicy steak, and the smell is just chef's kiss filling the air. Reina Tarun is just absolutely devouring it with intense focus. Suddenly, this dining table turns into a battlefield of table manners. Owen Zimmons is totally preaching about how important a hearty meal is. You need the energy for the duel, he insists. Okay, tension rising. Jiken, face battered and bruised, totally calls out Owen, asking if he's just trying to piss him off. And Owen's reply, super nonchalant, I was just trying to help. But I guess your inferiority complex is just that bad. And bam, tempers just flare up. A loud, what? Echoes through the entire room. A giant slab of meat goes flying and slams onto the table. Poor steak, a casualty of this heated argument. Reina is clearly not happy about this wasted food. Like seriously, don't mess with her meal. The whole room holds its breath. Everyone's eyes are darting around. What are they even gonna do now about their biggest problem, Zeke Draker? Okay, yeah, the pancration fight was savage, one boy says, totally smugly. But what's he gonna do if he can barely even hold up a sword? Remember? Zeke was so weak with a sword they had to get him a custom-made one because he couldn't handle a regular one. He just got lucky winning that pancration match, Jaken declares. Luck? Reina absolutely flares up. If you actually believe that, she declares, standing up from the table, you have no right to be called Knights of the Draker household. And with that, she just walks away. Alright, buckle up folks. After the pancration match, we're jumping straight into a high-stakes sword duel, and this ain't your grandma's sparring session. Nah, these cadets are using real swords, which means things are about to get super intense, like 0 to 100 real quick. This is also the last event for cadets to prove themselves before the blessing rite. That's where the Drakers awaken their sick aura powers, so yeah, stakes are through the roof. Alright, first dude to get called is, you guessed it, Zeke Draker. And does he walk? Nah, he strides in, looking confident as heck. Immediately, the whispers start buzzing. Like, whoa, what's with that gigantic sword he's lugging around? His name echoes through the whole arena. Zeke Draker, someone shouts. And who steps up to face him? Only Reina to run, folks. This chick is a fierce contender, eyes blazing with intensity. And get this, she makes a fiery declaration and picks Zeke as her opponent. Zeke just smirks like, bring it on, and accepts the challenge without even blinking. Seriously though, everyone's jaw drops seeing how easily he handles that massive claymore. Like that thing should not be that simple to wield. As they face off, Reina immediately senses it. Bro is not the same dude from before. There's just something different about him now. His whole presence, his vibe, it feels bigger. She's gritting her teeth, probably thinking, no way, this can't be right. Reina tries to psych herself up, reminding herself she's strong. But hey, even Zeke's feeling the pressure a little. I mean, going up against the future Lightning Knight? Yeah, that's gonna be nerve-wracking. Fun fact, Reina, or soon to be known as the Lightning Knight, was destined to be one of the greatest knights in this generation of Drakers. She was able to awaken her aura even before the blessing rite. But she's been keeping it secret, wanting to focus on her basic fundamentals instead. Talk about dedication. Okay, duel time. With one sharp clap, it's on. Reina doesn't hesitate. She lunges forward, blade flashing like lightning, coming at Zeke with everything she's got. But Zeke? He's just dancing back, cool as a cucumber, dodging these powerhouse strikes like it's nothing. Seriously, neither of them is holding back, and you can feel the energy crackling around them. Zeke suddenly shifts, taking a low stance. He's conserving energy, coiled like a spring, ready to explode. He's actually surprised. Reina is way better than he expected. This duel is definitely not going to be simple. Meanwhile, some joker in the crowd shouts out, telling Reina to just end him in one hit. Guys like Jaken are watching, confused. Why isn't Reina just finishing this? Is she messing with him? But is Reina just toying with him though? Or is our MC holding his own against the greatest knight of the kingdom? Meanwhile, Reina's inside her head, analyzing everything. She's super proud of her skill to spot even the tiniest opening in someone's defense. But here's the crazy part. It feels like no matter how fast she tries to exploit those gaps, Zeke's sword is just always there, like it's applauding her for her attempts. Suddenly, it hits her. This doesn't feel like a real fight. It feels like a training duel. And then the realization dawns, it wasn't her toying with him, it was Zeke toying with her. After that shocker, Reina has to take a step back. You can see the exhaustion starting to show on her face. And get this, Zeke looks totally unbothered, even thinking, so this is how the Lightning Knight fought when she was in the cradle. Her swordsmanship is spot on, but it feels like there's something holding her back. Let's see if I can help her break out of her shell, Zeke thinks. He decides it's time to turn up the heat and push her even further, dropping into that low stance again and advancing. He's moving with crazy speed and precision now, meeting her attacks head-on like a tank. Before she can even think, Zeke is gone. He's moving so fast it's insane. He slashes right in front of her face. Even when she tries to keep her distance, just reacting to his moves is a nightmare. Zeke is just closing the distance like crazy now, hitting her with powerful charges. Then, boom, a sudden strike knocks her completely off balance. Zeke is just coming at her like a full-blown whirlwind. And in that moment, Reina thinks it's all over. But then, a flash of blue light. With one lightning-fast pivot, she disarms Zeke, sending his giant sword flying with a powerful stroke. Okay, so outcome seems clear, right? Reina won the duel. The crowd goes wild. Yeah, that's our Reina. And she didn't even need her aura. They cheer. But hold up. Pan Mark, the head instructor, isn't buying it. He noticed it. At the very last second, Reina used just a sliver of aura. Like a tiny amount you'd barely even see. And that broke her promise not to use her aura until she hit the academy. So yeah, Zeke basically pushed her so hard he forced her to tap into her hidden power just to win. But wait, what? Suddenly Zeke charges again. This fight is apparently not over. And he doesn't use his sword. He punches Reina right in the neck, and blood spurts out. The entire arena goes dead silent. Zeke is standing over a kneeling Reina, blood dripping from her mouth. Oof. Then the silence snaps. Someone shouts angrily, "Hey, this is a sword duel." Everyone starts backing them up, yelling about what a cheap shot it was. Total chaos erupts in the audience. People are screaming that Reina won because Zeke dropped his sword. It's a complete circus in there. "Shame on you," echoes everywhere. But Zeke? Does he even flinch? Nope. He just shrugs like, "Meh, I won in the end." Brushes off the entire crowd's jeers like they're just background noise. He looks down at Reina, still completely unfazed. "So, want to keep going?" His eyes are just locked onto hers, unyielding. Reina's eyes narrow. Determination flares. She thinks, "I haven't lost. He only hit me because I dropped my guard for a second." Her mind starts racing. My guard? She realizes, wait, if he'd had a dagger instead of just his fist right there, yeah, that would have been a total disaster. She closes her eyes, finally facing the harsh reality. It's a bitter pill to swallow. "It is my loss," she finally admits. The crowd goes silent again, stunned, processing Reina actually admitting defeat. Think about it. Just a few days ago, this dude was being called human scum, the total underdog nobody believed in. And now? He's standing there gripping his sword with this completely new vibe of authority. The audience is dead quiet, waiting for the official call. Seriously, who saw this coming? In the end, Zeke Draker completely defied all the odds, pulling off something that seemed impossible against Reina, the undisputed top student in the whole cradle. His name rings out as the victor, while Reina just stands there stoic, trying to process this insane defeat. Okay, kicking things off, we've got a total dumpster fire scenario, smoke just absolutely billowing around a castle in chaos. Man, the aftermath is brutal. Wounded soldiers are being carried away, and the ground is just a total mess of rubble and fire. But hold up. Inside one of the buildings, you've got Abel Draker just chilling, sipping his tea like it's a regular Tuesday. Another dude, William, is totally losing it, questioning Abel's sanity. "How are you this relaxed when everything is falling apart?" Then William gets some major news. He reads a note about Zeke's victory over Reina. Yeah, that just dials up the tension in the room even more. Abel just shrugs it off, casually teasing William about being so serious. But Abel's got a plan forming. "How long until the blessing rite?" he asks William. He decides it's time for a little visit. His little brother's sudden 180 has got him really interested. Although Zeke's victory left the entire cradle in shock, he just went back quietly to the grind, training like crazy. It's now a month later, and the day of the blessing rite. He's questioning how he even became a red knight before with this trash body. He checks his status screen. He's finally getting the hang of this system and how it levels up. He starts at beginner, then once he maxes out at expert level, he rises up to the next rank. His draconian skill, though, still 0. Then Decker pops in, giving Zeke the heads up that they're leaving soon. Zeke gears up for the trip back to his family estate within the Duchy of Troy. This is where the ceremony is held, the place where the legend of the Dragon Slayer originated. Arriving at the Dragon's Nest lair, Zeke's hit with a wave of nostalgia and maybe just a little bit of apprehension. The estate is absolutely bustling with activity. It's totally a full house kind of day. Inside, all the cadets gather in the main hall. Zeke stands in line, observing the people who have come to watch the rites. He's spotting some seriously influential figures, and probably some spies sent by his family. Well, whatever their intentions are, they'll quickly lose interest in him once he fails his awakening. Then, he suddenly freezes. "What is this scumbag doing here?" he glares. Meanwhile, Abel is all smiles, greeting other VIPs. "What brings you to the blessing rite? Has someone caught your eye?" someone asks him. "Nope, I have other reasons," Abel replies mysteriously. He turns to survey the cadets. "It's because my adorable youngest brother is here." Abel smiles like a cat stalking its prey. Zeke meets Abel's eye for a second. The Lion Blade, nah, that title is too good for him. It's the Butchering Knight, Abel Draker. He quickly turns away. He needs to calm down. There's nothing he can do right now anyway. In his past life, there was no way Abel would come all his way to see him at the blessing rite. Did his actions change his future? If that's the case, then this could totally be his chance. And man, the excitement starts bubbling up as the beginning of the rite is announced. The blessing rite, a super essential Draker tradition, finally begins. Aaron is called on first. He steps forward and approaches a basin of glowing liquid and plunges his hand into it. At the bottom of the basin is a needle-like thing that draws blood from Aaron's hand. Wisps of smoke float out of the water. Energy crackles, and their aura flares vividly into existence. Through the blessing rite, every member of the Draker bloodline awaken their sealed aura when it's time for them to graduate from the cradle at the age of 12. Compared to regular knights who usually awaken their aura after age 20, it was incredibly fast. After Aaron's successful awakening, the next kid is called. Among these kid awakeners, there are a few rare cases. Along with awakening their aura, they also awaken a Dragon Slayer ability called Mana Inhibition. Sky's the limit for these rare few who grow up to be yellow, red, or even black knights. Suddenly, the lights in the hall are extinguished, followed by a crackling red light. The solemn knight statue's sword suddenly bursts out in red flame. This kind of awakening is called a pure blood awakening, and surprise, surprise, it was Reina. Promptly, there's a call for gloves. Because of the Mana Inhibition train, pure blood awakeners need to use special gloves. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to live a normal life. And guess what? Pure blood awakeners also earn the right to use the Draker name, plus they get infinite amount of support from the family. Now all eyes are on the next one. Zeke is the next candidate, and the expectations are super heavy on him, especially after that epic win over Reina. Standing before the altar again, Zeke's wrapped in a total mix of hope and dread. Flashbacks of his last traumatic experience flood his mind, but things aren't the same this time around. He reminds himself that not only is he a healer, he can manipulate ether too. And on top of that, he didn't give up or surrender, he stood up for himself with pure determination. So here goes nothing, he thinks, as he plunges his hand into the basin. Blood is drawn and Zeke stares up in anticipation at the silent statue. The statue shakes and the crowd starts murmuring in surprise. They've seriously never seen an interruption like this during the rite before. Abel's looking like he's regretting coming all the way for this. Zeke trying to keep his disappointment from showing. He expected some major change from his past life, but he's just left feeling disappointed. Maybe he pushed too hard, got a little too confident. Whispers start running through the room. He failed to awaken? Is that even possible? Man, the disbelief is seriously palpable. And the gossipers are already speculating. Like, did he trick his way into beating Reina? This is such a disgrace, you can hear them mutter. Zeke just shrugs it off. Like, whatever. He decides there are definitely other paths to power beyond just an awakening. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a message pops up to interrupt his thoughts. It's something about some information missing from the identification terminal during class identification. Class info has now been updated using the system's authority. Talk about a major glitch. It's a flurry of pop-ups. The missing information has been found. Class information input is complete. The terminal identifies his talent as a healer, but hold up. Not just any healer, we're talking a rare class healer. Zeke looks absolutely shocked. No way, he probably thinks, disbelief just totally written all over his face. Suddenly, the knight bursts into red light. That's a sign of a pure blood awakening, sparking chatter all around. Something huge sparks in Zeke's mind. A massive connection is made. The ancient dragon's blessing activates, sealed with the user's soul, has been activated. Golden energy starts swirling faster and faster, enveloping Zeke completely. This is drawing eyes from everyone in the crowd. Finally, the terminal makes the big announcement: talent of kin, fighter's blood has been activated. All these talents are merging within him, creating something totally new, a unique class. Zeke, totally bewildered by this insane display, can only mutter, what the heck? He's unlocked something completely mind-blowingly new, the immortal class. The hall is absolutely buzzing with confusion over this crazy golden light that just exploded from Zeke. No one saw this coming, not even Zeke himself. He's standing there totally clueless, wondering if this even counts as a pure blood awakening. I mean, it flashed red for a split second, so maybe that's good enough? He can feel the doubts in the air, but he's smart enough to keep quiet. Speaking up now would just mess things up, so he stays silent as a system window flickers to life right in front of him. Meanwhile, the nobles are losing their minds, whispering to each other in total shock. Some are straight up asking if the sword statue is busted. Others are arguing there's no way this is a pure blood awakening since there wasn't any mana inhibition effect. But then, boom. Abel Draker claps his hands loud enough to snap everyone out of it. With this massive grin on his face, he struts onto the balcony looking down at the crowd like he owns the place. He's like, why is everyone so tense? We've got 2 pure blood awakenings in one go. Isn't this a reason to party? The crowd starts murmuring and some nobles are nodding, swapping confusion for this nervous excitement. They're shouting, yeah, that's right, what a blessing. Abel turns to a knight and snaps an order to grab a glove for the newest member. The knight bolts off and comes back with a black glove, handing it to Zeke, who's surprised by how heavy it feels. The ceremony moves on to the next person, and Abel shoots Zeke this sly little smirk. Zeke sees right through it though. Abel's clearly trying to play this situation to his advantage, but accepting help from a guy like him? Man, that feels downright gross. The head instructor Pan Mark wraps up the blessing rite and announces a big celebration party for everyone. Zeke though? He's got zero interest in partying. He's itching to find a training room and figure out what in the world is happening to him. But just as he's trying to sneak off, someone calls his name. Zeke freezes. He knows that voice instantly. It's Abel, strolling right toward him. He's like, where are you slipping off to so early in the party? Zeke's thinking, seriously, this guy's making a move already? Abel gives him a sneaky look, then stretches out a hand, saying, congratulations on the pure blood awakening. Zeke forces a half smile. A handshake, huh? If he refuses, it's like declaring war right there. So, he decides to play along for now and reaches out. But as his hand gets close, bam! A brutal flashback from his past life hits him hard, a memory of standing over a pile of bodies. He flinches, stopping just short of Abel's hand. Abel looks puzzled. Zeke pulls his hand back completely. Talk about awkward. Abel even says it out loud with this creepy smile, calling the moment awkward. Zeke grits his teeth. For the sake of keeping up appearances, he knows he should shake hands, but touching this creep, it makes his skin crawl. Seeing Zeke hesitate, Abel pulls his hand back too. He's like, fine, I'll settle for just seeing your face. Then he turns to leave, tossing out a casual, I'll see you again, Zeke. Zeke watches him go, his face darkening. Under his breath, he mutters, yeah, I'll see you again, with a tone that's pure menace. As Abel walks off, the party guests are still buzzing about the two new purebloods. Everyone's talking about Zeke's insane golden light, something they've never seen before. Someone even asks where Zeke disappeared to, but guess what? He's already out of there. Zeke finally finds a private room, breathing a sigh of relief as he peels off that stuffy uniform. He's pacing around trying to piece everything together. How is he okay? Every pureblood awakening is supposed to come with mana inhibition. It's kind of a symbolic ability that shows you are on the opposite side of the dragons, the source of all mana. But the thing is, most machines in this world are powered by mana. That's why purebloods need to wear special gloves. So if he's a real pureblood, taking off his gloves should have caused problems, right? He needs answers, now. He commands, status window. A screen pops up and his stats are completely different. His class? It's now immortal, a unique rank. His title? The one who received the blessing of the ancient dragon. He's got a huge list of skills, including a new one called mana reflection. He's like, not mana inhibition, but mana reflection? Curious, he pulls up the skill description. Turns out it creates a distortion field to nullify nearby mana. He realizes it's an active skill, not passive, which explains why the mana lamps didn't go haywire. And get this, his class shifted from a rare healer to a unique immortal. Then things start clicking into place. All the other graduates had normal awakenings with a blue aura. Only Reina had a red light, which everyone labeled as a pure blood awakening. Zeke remembers his light started red too, but then it switched to gold. He recalls a system message saying the classification terminal lost critical information. The classification terminal was at the bronze statue. As soon as the system manually updated his class info, and that's when the statue froze and then glowed red. Zeke slumps into a chair, running a hand through his hair, groaning, man, so that's what happened. The bronze statue doesn't just check if you've awakened or not, it figures out the user's class. Red light means a rare class, and gold means a unique class. That statue is an ancient relic, older than the Draker family, from a time when the whole concept of class still existed. And now, because no one in this age remembers the ancient knowledge, they just use it as a basic awakening checker. For generations, his family has been mislabeling the red light and taking it as a sign of pure blood awakenings. He can't believe no one ever figured this out. Then he spots something new. He's got karma points now, 100 of them, and his draconian skill is ready to unlock for just 10 points. Did he get it back then at the hall? He doesn't waste a second saying let's try it as he taps the yes option on the prompt. A skill tree opens showing off new abilities like Dragon Eyes, Might of the Dragon, and Devour. Leaning back, he's thinking Dragon Eyes and Might of the Dragon sound straightforward and useful. But Devour? It lets the user eat and digest a ton, apparently. And it costs a massive 50 points? Nah, he's playing it safe. Better to grab something obviously good than gamble on a weird, pricey eating skill. Zeke doesn't hesitate, spending his karma points to unlock two new draconian skills, Dragon Eyes and Might of the Dragon. Leaning back in his chair, he figures Might of the Dragon sounds like it could blast a hole through the mansion, so he opts to test the other one first. The system chimes in, activating Dragon Eyes. Instantly, Zeke's left eye lights up with a golden glow, magic circles swirling in his iris. He taps his foot, looking around the room, kinda underwhelmed at first. He's thinking, I expected more since it promised detailed info, but nothing's different. Then, boom, it hits him. A wicked grin spreads across his face as a golden flame bursts from his eye and he laughs, saying, this doesn't even make sense. His vision goes nuts, zooming past the moon and stars like they're right in front of him. He can see the entire estate, even the ceremony statue, in perfect detail from his room. This skill is beyond useful. And that's not all. When he focuses on objects, a prompt pops up, asking if he wants detailed information. He mutters, detailed information? And just like that, blue windows flood his view, labeling every item in the room from the Mycenaean candle stand to the Luverne dynasty desk, even the ceremonial dress he ditched. The sheer amount of info is overwhelming and a sharp pain stabs through his head. He staggers, grabbing the chair for support. Gasping, he says, ugh, are all draconian skills this draining? Before slumping into the seat, totally wiped out. Right as he's catching his breath, another notification pops up. It says, class skill activating, healing factor, vigor recovery activated. A purple aura wraps around him and he feels his energy coming back. Confused, he thinks, what? I didn't mean to use healing. He pulls up his status screen again and it dawns on him. Scrolling through his skill list, his eyes go wide. All his class skills have turned into passive abilities, and they've leveled up by 1. Healing factor isn't something he has to cast anymore, his body just fixes itself on its own. He shouts, "This is way too broken," with a huge, excited grin. He thinks back to his past life, where healing was strong but limited, something you couldn't just keep using, especially on fatal wounds. But this new healing factor? It's called infinite. He's got to test it. Grabbing a fruit knife nearby, he braces himself. With a deep breath, he drags the blade across his forearm, carving a deep, bloody gash. Blood drips to the floor, and the system announces the skill's activation. Before he can even feel the full sting, the wound seals itself shut, leaving flawless skin behind, not a single scar. He whispers, "No way," in total awe. Leaning back, Zeke thinks about what's next. The academy program is supposed to take 5 years, but he decides he's not waiting that long. With power like this, he's finishing it in 2. Alright, fast forward to spring. We're at Draker Academy, the absolute top-tier night school on the entire continent. Any aspiring knight would give an arm and a leg to get into this school. It's the start of a new term, and the newbies are flocking in, excited on their first day. Zeke Draker strolls in, observing the crowd. Students at the academy are all trained to perfection, they're already like adults. But even they are no match to the kids from the cradle. The cradle kids are all kids from great families, and it seems like they've started to establish their own little kingdoms here already. What a rotten family, Zeke thinks. The whole Draker power structure is basically a bunch of branch families supporting the main god-tier Draker family. Among them, 3 families have the most influence. You've got the Tarun family, famous for their raw power, with Reina Tarun repping them. Then there's the Zimmons family, the brains of the operation, led by the super chill Owen Zimmons. And finally, the Vardek family, who are loaded with cash, with Yakin Vardek as their golden boy. Seeing these heirs already acting like they own the place just makes Zeke smirk. But hey, he figures it's not his problem and just dips out of the crowd. He's heading for the high-class dorm, the Platinum Mansion, and this place is seriously next level. Zeke thinks to himself, man, it must be nice being a purebred. The mansion is basically a 5-star hotel with its own private training hall and a massive library. It's so exclusive that even the kids from the great families can't just waltz in. But for a pure-blood awakener like Zeke, there's a special perk, the title of Floor Master. That means he gets an entire floor, the Platinum Floor, all to himself. The second he steps onto his floor, a maid is there to greet him. An entire line of staff is waiting, bowing down in perfect sync. "Welcome, Master," they all shout out. Zeke chuckles awkwardly, thinking this is way over the top even for a pure-blood Draker. The head butler steps up, letting him know that his personal servant, Decker, is already waiting in his room. Inside the ridiculously fancy suite, Decker greets his young master. Turns out he's got a delivery. Zeke is actually pretty hyped to see what it is. Decker busts out a brand new pair of mana-suppressing gloves, way better than the temporary ones he was using before. Zeke slips them on, feeling the quality. Now that he's got some proper gloves, he decides he needs a new sword to go with them. Decker totally agrees, saying it's a great idea. The Duchy of Troy is right next to the Giant's Mountain, so it's loaded with top-shelf iron and master craftsmen. They say every single academy graduate's first sword is a Trojan-made blade. Decker offers to find a solid craftsman for him, but Zeke cuts him off. "Nah, I've already got someone in mind," he says. He jots down a name, Galleon Halbert, and tells Decker to book an appointment. Decker's never even heard of the guy, but says he'll get on it right away. Before he leaves, he hands Zeke a stack of papers, reminding him that classes start tomorrow. "Always nagging me, yeah, I get it," Zeke sighs. Now he's alone in his massive suite, and Zeke glances over the papers. He realizes that since the Platinum Floor is completely cut off from everyone else, he's got total privacy. This is the perfect spot to secretly level up his draconian skills without anyone knowing. Just then, there's a knock at the door. "Come in," he calls out. A maid walks in with a message. Floor Master Reina has sent an invitation to dinner. "Reina?" Now Zeke's interested. "Lead the way," he says. He gets led to this outdoor terrace where Reina Turin is waiting, and she's got her whole crew with her. Zeke can't help but think it's kinda cute in a weird way. Are you guys running some kind of southern cartel or something? He thinks to himself. Reina, as the floor master, gives him a formal welcome. She even apologizes for her family's weirdly intense habits. Zeke thanks her for the concern and takes a seat. They agree to talk business after they eat. While they're eating, Zeke is totally analyzing her. She's known as the Lightning Knight, and he can see her perfectly controlling her aura. Looks like she's already gunning to become a Purple Knight. So he's thinking, if she's that good, why is her sword style so completely stuck? It's a total waste of all that talent. After Reina absolutely demolishes a huge meal, she gets straight to the point. Accept the Turun family's support, Zeke Draker. She just says it, straight up. Zeke finds this hilarious. He reminds her they're both pure-blood awakeners, so what's the deal? Reina just shakes her head, telling him he's got it all wrong. Yeah, they get perks like the platinum floor, but that's where it stops. They don't get any special treatment when it comes to actually getting stronger. To really get to the top, they need access to the Academy's secret knowledge and personal trainers. Without a support family backing you, even the richest student is going to get left in the dust. She points out that even Abel Draker, a pure blood just like them and the current Black Knight, needed the help of his mom's side of the family, the Zimmons, to get where he is. Then Reina plays her ace. She doesn't know the why, but she knows that Zeke isn't getting any support from his mom's side of the family. She leans in close, her eyes burning with intensity. I will say this one more time. Accept the Turun family's support, Zeke Draker. Zeke just smiles, a playful, almost mocking look in his eyes. No, Reina is completely stunned. What? Why? She stammers out. Getting our support is a good deal for you, there's no downside. Zeke just leans back, totally relaxed. It's not about that. I just don't need anything more than what I already get as a pure-blood awakener. He stands up to leave. It's not much, but in return for the good meal, he says, walking away, I'll give you one piece of advice you desperately need right now. He stops, and just barely turns his head. Your sword has way too much strength behind it. Reina completely freezes up. Zeke keeps going. My guess is you're too worried about what those guys think. He raises a hand and calls a light breeze. Listen well, Reina. As he leaves, Zeke lays it all out with a confident smirk, green leaves swirling around him like a storm. He tells her that her real strength isn't just raw power, but the flow that comes from her super flexible body. Stop trying to block attacks head on and just crush people with force, he explains, slicing the air with his gloved hand. Instead, she needs to be like the wind, smoothly redirecting her opponent's attacks. And, he says, pausing just for the drama, land a single perfect strike. If she can pull that off, he promises she'll get several times stronger than she is right now. Reina is left totally speechless, her eyes wide open as his words hit her like a truck. With his epic mic drop complete, Zeke gives a casual wave and heads for the elevator, thanks for the meal. Now she's all alone, and Reina is shaking with rage, clenching her fists so tight her knuckles go white. The Turun family is all about strength. I was just following our family's way. She sees this to herself. She tries to deny it, her mind screaming, it's not like I'm worried about what other people think, but that denial just crumbles into dust. No, he's right, she admits, as an image of herself surrounded by a million identical knights flashes in her head. She realizes that she was so obsessed with living up to the Turun name she was projecting all of it into her sword. And Zeke saw through all of it with a single look. She stares at a single green leaf he left behind, picking it up as a bitter thought hits her. When I was a kid, everyone called me a genius, but not one person ever gave me real advice. But this guy, Zeke Draker, he just did. Holding the leaf, which is now split in half, she stares off into the distance with a brand new fire in her eyes. Her mind is stuck on one single, burning question. Just who in the world are you, Zeke Draker? The next day, Zeke is feeling absolutely pumped. His new class skills are seriously next level, off the charts OP. And get this, he trained all night, literally, and he's not even tired. Yep, that infinite stamina class skill, it's totally living up to the hype. He's reflecting on how wild his life has become. Like before, this academy felt like actual hell. But now, as a pure-blood awakener, bro, it's paradise on earth. Yeah, money and power aren't everything, but this feeling right now, dude, that's absolutely priceless. As he's just walking along, some guys are checking him out. Then, someone calls out Zeke Draker. Who is it? None other than Owen Zimmons, the third son from one of the three great families, the Zimmons crew. Okay, quick recap, scheming is like the Zimmons family specialty. Zeke remembers Owen used to relentlessly bully him, but Owen always made sure he never got caught. Now Owen's trying to act all buddy-buddy, asking Zeke if he got his dinner invite. Zeke's playing it super cool. He casually mentions finding an envelope on his desk. Just an envelope, you know? Owen, of course, presses him, so why didn't you reply? And this is where Zeke decides to totally flip the script, hitting him with peak arrogance. He's like, why do I have to reply to literally every single invitation I get? But before Owen can even process that, one of his lackeys steps forward. Yeah, it's one of Owen's goons, and he immediately starts accusing Zeke of being rude. Classic. Zeke, completely unimpressed. He just hits him with the classic, who even are you? The guy smirks, puffs out his chest, and boasts his nickname is Durban the Mighty. Zeke is not even pretending to care, not one bit. Honestly, cadets with inflated egos, nothing new for Zeke. He just kind of waves him off like, get that you want to look good in front of your master, but remember who you're speaking to. But as Zeke starts walking away, bam, he gets attacked from behind without a single warning. Except, our guy Zeke easily dodges it, like, effortlessly. Okay, looks like these high-ranking students can do some basic aura manipulation. But Zeke? Not even phased. He's seen way better. Meanwhile, Durbin the Mighty is screaming about how he's gonna teach Zeke some manners. Durbin the Mighty? Zeke literally snickers out loud. Like seriously? A low-level cadet giving himself a cool nickname? Hilarious. And before anyone can even react, Zeke launches forward and lands a solid punch to the gut. That punch sends Durbin the Mighty flying through the air. Zeke stands there, cool as ever, and just taunts them. So who's up next? He even specifically calls out Owen. Come on, young Master Owen. Hurry up and pick your fighter. Owen and Zeke just lock eyes for a few tense seconds. You sure like to bask in your own glory, Zeke Draker. Owen mutters back. But Zeke? Zero backing down. He just replies, what a joke, and walks away. Okay, quick academy breakdown. You've got the normal class cadets who basically just grind super hard every single day with a strict regimen. Then there's the special class, the supposed elites, who get to pick and choose their subjects freely. Zeke was hoping the special class would be, special. But honestly, he's just surrounded by serious mediocrity. He's sitting in class listening to everyone chatter, and he can't help but feel like it's just the same old cradle class vibes all over again. But today there's a buzz going around because someone special is visiting. In walks Howard Draker, the guy they call the war hero. He's totally hailed for his past victories. Okay, context. Howard Draker is actually the dean of the academy. He's greeting the class all warmly playing the part. But Zeke knows the real truth. Howard isn't some hero, he's just a traitor who got lucky. Like the intel he leaked to the enemy to save his own skin just happened to accidentally throw the enemy into total chaos. Zeke's eyes narrow, remembering how this hero was totally involved in getting him expelled from the academy the first time. And because of that, Zeke ended up wandering across the entire country, eventually getting sold off to literal slave traders. Yeah, revenge is definitely on the menu now. Howard finishes up his speech, giving the students some inspirational words or whatever. Then everyone's ordered to grab their swords and head to the arena. So they all march over to the special class indoor arena for dragon slaying basics. Sounds epic, right? Zeke's reflecting on his past life here. Back then, because he couldn't use aura, it took him ages to learn stuff that others picked up in just a few months. He can't help but chuckle. Yeah, it is not going to be like that this time. They're welcomed by their instructor, Andre Draker. He's also known as the famous Rose Knight. The other students are all curious, some looking pretty impressed by his age and cool title. Get this. Andre wasn't even born a pureblood Draker. But because of his absolutely insane genius, he was awarded the Draker name when he graduated. Zeke remembers this guy was pretty famous for being, well, totally inflexible. His authoritative vibe and no-nonsense reputation immediately set the mood. He's already telling some students off. Everyone's told to whip out their swords, and the sound of metal clangs fill the entire room. Then Andre notices something odd. Cadet, what in the world is that sword? He calls out to Zeke. Zeke just casually whirls his sword around. He holds it up nonchalantly, basically just saying, as you can see, it's the sword I'm using. Step onto the arena, Andre orders. The instructor points out the super obvious that sword does not match Zeke's physique at all. But Zeke? Oh, he totally expected this. Get this, he's been planning to stand out, deliberately trying to draw attention to himself. He just shrugs it off, thinking there's really no way to avoid this now. And then, boom, Zeke drops a casual bomb. He's totally confident he could take on the instructor with this sword. Right on cue, the instructor's eyes just flare up. Check it. Zeke's class skill, Indomitable Mental Defense, activates just because he's in the presence of such a strong knight. Totally taking the bait, Andre accepts the challenge. He draws his own sword, announcing that if Zeke's janky blade even touches his body, he'll exempt Zeke from any punishment for his rudeness. The aura around the instructor starts seriously intensifying like a swirling mass of raw power. But wait, there's more. He'll also exempt Zeke from the entire dragon-slaying basics class too. Free pass unlocked. If he can manage to scratch the Rose Knight. And get this, Andre doesn't plan on using his aura in this fight. Zeke is ecstatic. That class exemption is in the bag now. Deep down, he knows he can absolutely take Andre. But he's got to play it cool, got to keep his real power level on the down low from Abel. No biggie, he'll just graze his clothes and lose the match then. Zeke flips the switch, game face on, and bam, he takes the first swing, straight for the jugular. Their blades are just blazing, every single swing, every block is packed with insane strength. Andre looks like the picture-perfect knight, matching Zeke move for move. Our boy Zeke is like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it would be. 30 minutes in, and Zeke hasn't even put a scratch on Andre. Talk about pressure cooker mode. But what nobody on the ground sees is Andre's sword hand starting to tremble a little bit. Bro cannot believe Zeke's stamina. He seriously can't believe he's losing ground to this cadet. and he's having a moment thinking about how unfair the whole pure-blood thing really is. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ring, Zeke is noticing Andre's stamina draining. Looks like keeping his aura suppressed for the fight is really hitting him hard. Zeke's thinking about the Draker family's strange aura cultivation technique. Like, their aura is just on 24/7 even when they're chilling or sleeping. It's literally like breathing for them. So yeah, for someone like Andre, suppressing his aura is basically like holding his breath for a super long time. Which, you guessed it, absolutely nukes his stamina bar. Zeke lands another hit, but it gets deflected again. Losing right now? Nah, that just doesn't feel right to our MC. Maybe, just maybe, he can actually bait Andre into accidentally using his aura. Zeke cranks it up a notch, trying to set up a situation that'll make Andre pop his aura without even thinking. In this wild dance, Zeke is just hunting for that one opening. And then, it happens. Quick as an arrow through a storm, Zeke just explodes. That totally stops Andre dead in his tracks. The system window is like, ding, swift steps activated. And Zeke is just weaving around the arena like a phantom. Andre is absolutely shook that a cadet is able to use the swift steps move. Next up, critical strike skill is live, and Zeke pops up right behind him. Andre barely has a millisecond to even react. He counters purely on muscle memory, on pure instinct, and unleashes his dragon-slaying arts, Sky Slice. Folks, this is exactly what Zeke planned, and he takes the hit with a smile. Waves of pure force just rip through the air. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. The bystanders, they're totally mystified, their shock is just radiating. Zeke, holding his now totally cracked weapon, is gritting his teeth against the pain that's shooting through him. But his healing factor is already doing its thing. He's thinking, okay, now I can finally collapse, breathing out that sweet relief. And down he goes, totally spent from that epic duel. Andre is giving Zeke the nod, acknowledging his skill. Everyone is seeing the ripple effect this one cadet is causing. As the dust settles, the verdict is in: Zeke is officially exempt from more classes. Any other takers? Andre calls out, and you know what? Silence. Nobody steps up. With his eyes practically burning, Andre just goes right back to lecturing the class. A little while later, over at the infirmary, Zeke is thinking back on how he did. Even though he got smacked down, he's feeling pretty good about it. Yeah, he didn't actually land a hit on Andre, but his real goal was baiting him into using that aura. And that, my friends, counts as a major win. And getting out of those extra lessons? That's just the cherry on top. Then, it hits him. Andre's last strike. That was like the most basic move of the dragon-slaying arts. But because it came from a high-ranked Blue Knight, the force was absolutely insane. But Zeke's got that quiet confidence, knowing that at his current power levels he can take down even a Blue Knight. He's dreaming bigger though. He wants real freedom, not just barely surviving. And for him to attain that, he needs power that's totally, utterly unrestrained. The kind of power where he doesn't have to bow to a single soul. Suddenly, his awesome daydream gets totally interrupted by some boozy dude hovering over him. So you're Arthur's youngest son? He rambles drunkenly. Zeke's brain short-circuits. Who the heck is this? You got the same arrogant eyes as that jerk, the dude grins. Zeke's mind is racing. He's shocked he didn't even sense this guy walk in, booze smell and all, and he has the nerve to insult his dad, the freaking patriarch of the Draker family. Who is this guy? The boozy dude wants to know how Zeke did that thing earlier. Zeke is playing dumb, pretending he has no clue what he's talking about. Feigning ignorance, unbelievable, the drunk dude mutters, slamming his bottle down. He's like, look, you had a nasty internal injury earlier, but it healed crazy fast. How did you pull that off? Looks like this guy totally caught on to Zeke's healing power. Our boy is officially on guard. Zeke's defenses are kicking in hard. He cannot let this guy learn too much. He's locked in, absolutely determined not to let anyone figure out his secret. I seriously don't know what you're talking about, he answers, trying to sound innocent. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a hand just slices through the air. Zeke's body reacts purely on instinct, moving to counter this totally unexpected attack. Chaos. Zeke goes tumbling across the room thinking this dude is an assassin. He throws the bed sheets to blind the guy, which ironically makes the dude actually admire Zeke's skills. Kid's got some tricks. Swift steps, precise stab, critical strike. His skills are popping off one after another. His instincts are screaming at him. If he doesn't do something right now, this dude is gonna finish him. The guy is still covered by the sheet, but somehow he manages to block Zeke's attack. Your adaptability is impressive. Almost like a mercenary, the dude says, smiling with this super weird glow in his eyes. And the big question is hanging in the air. Who on earth is this guy really? Just who the heck is he? Wait, who is this guy? And mercenary? Does this guy know his secrets or something? Then the guy drops the line, honestly, you'd make a better mercenary than a knight. Okay, that's what he meant. Zeke is like, phew, total relief. But hold up, it's not over. Zeke felt this insane power from this dude earlier. This guy could easily be a red knight, maybe even higher rank. Then there's a knock on the door. Surprise! Andre walks in, looks right past Zeke, and stares at the drunk dude, saying, well, if it isn't Garden Keeper Dexter. So this is where you've been. Zeke's brain blue screens. A gardener? This guy? Garden Keeper Dexter just straight up says, how'd you know how to find me, you leech? Andre turns to Zeke and is basically like, you can go now. But as Zeke's heading out, Dexter calls after him. Hey kid, come to the Western Greenhouse sometime. I'll teach you something useful, he says. There's this awkward pause for like 2 seconds. Then Zeke just casually hits him with a nah, I'm good. Absolute mad lad. Dexter is seething. He shakes his fist at Zeke's rudeness and yells, you've got the same trash personality as your dad. Zeke just smiles as he closes the door. Garden Keeper Dexter? Seriously? Who is this guy trying to fool? Think about it. He can call the current patriarch by his first name like it's nothing. And he's clearly tight with Andre. Zeke immediately gets this strong feeling this isn't just some drunk dude, this is Duke Draker, the legendary Gale Knight. This guy is one of the super rare black knights who had enough power to literally take on an entire kingdom by himself. He just vanished one day. Poof. Nobody knew where he went. So this is where he's been hiding. Zeke wonders if maybe Andre came here to the academy because of him. He tries to remember all the wild rumors about Duke Draker, like he called himself the Black Knight just because he liked the color. That's too absurd, right? But whatever. The main point? Duke Draker is showing some interest in Zeke. Our MC is already scheming, figuring out how to turn that mild interest into teaching him his secret OP moves. Later that day, Zeke's stuck in magic theory class. Professor Fanon is basically fighting a losing battle trying to keep anyone awake. Literally, everyone is zoned out, except Zeke. He throws out a question that completely blindsides Fanon, and the professor's face just lights up like a Christmas tree. Sorry, the professor apologizes. It's my first time getting a question in class. Finally, class ends, and everyone's just complaining about why they even need magic theory. But get this, Zeke was actually digging it. As he's packing up, the professor calls him over. Fanon is stoked that someone's finally into his subject. Turns out, Professor Fanon is low-key a big deal. He's from the super prestigious Delphoa Magic University. Zeke immediately clocks that this guy is way more than just some boring professor. They chat a bit more, and Zeke gets an open invite to visit Fanon's lab anytime. Hey, having a mage buddy can't hurt, right? Might come in handy later. Zeke walks out of the building and spots Gardener Dexter chilling nearby, totally dozing off. Wow, this guy is more impatient than Zeke thought. It's only been like a week since the offer. Dexter immediately asks, hey, why didn't you show up at the greenhouse? Like, did Zeke not get that he was offering to teach him some seriously useful stuff? But Zeke just plays it cool, saying he's not really interested in whatever Dexter's selling. What? Why not? Dexter totally loses it. Zeke tries to come up with some weak excuse, but Dexter is done playing games. He bamps right behind Zeke and delivers a perfect neck chop. Next thing Zeke knows, he's been yeeted straight to the Western Greenhouse. To think Garden Keeper Dexter just straight up knocked him out. Guess dude was a lot less patient than he thought. You awake, kid? Dexter calls out. Zeke is like, did you just kidnap me? And Dexter just cheerfully admits it. Like it's totally normal. Zeke is stunned by the sheer nerve. This guy isn't even trying to hide the fact he just abducted him. Activating his skill, Swift Steps, Zeke immediately tries to bail, but just when he thinks he's got away, Dexter pulls a classic move and pops up with a cheeky peekaboo. He tries to dodge, but Dexter is right there. Like, literally teleporting. He tries to escape again, but Dexter just casually shoves him away like he's a literal rag doll. Okay, Dexter is still not taking this seriously. Zeke needs to provoke him, light a fire under him. Zeke asks why Dexter is so obsessed with him, and the answer? It's his insane healing skills. Zeke lets out a quick smirk. Finally, he knows what's really bugging Dexter, so Zeke turns it into a challenge. Oh, you're that curious? He taunts. Then make me tell you. Suddenly, Dexter just poofs out of existence. Zeke is left spinning around trying to figure out where he went. Our MC is left wondering where this elusive garden keeper vanished to now. Suddenly, Dexter's reappearance comes with the whoosh of a weapon swinging right at Zeke. He barely ducks, feeling the wind rush past his ear. The weapon attacks are relentless, but Zeke is dodging and deflecting like crazy, using every bit of skill he's got. Zeke's fists are clenched, ready to go. He's moving fast, feet pounding the ground, getting ready for this totally unpredictable sparring match. He somehow manages to ask, totally calm despite everything, what exactly are you doing? Dexter replies, well, you told me to make you answer, but that's too easy. How about a bet? Here's the deal. If Zeke can just touch any part of Dexter's clothes, he gets a wish. Whoa, but here's the twist. If Zeke gives up, he has to spill all the secrets he's hiding. The battle is still going absolutely nuts. From a distance, Dexter is just watching in total disbelief. He's wondering what in the world this kid is made of because they've been sparring non-stop for 3 whole hours. Dexter knows this is not just about simple stamina. He can see it clear as day. Zeke's wounds and fatigue are just being limitlessly healed. 1 second, the kid is staggering, using his sword like a crutch and looking totally gassed. The next, he is pushing himself right back up, completely ready for more. Zeke feels his cheat skills kick right in. A system window pops up announcing healing factor and infinite stamina are now active. He knows he could do this all day, but that is not going to cut it. He remembers a power he has never touched before, something called the Might of the Dragon. It always felt way too risky to use. But hey, fighting a legendary Black Knight now seems like the perfect time to roll the dice. Suddenly, a wicked dark purple aura explodes around him, and his eyes start glowing with a crazy intense light. He stares Dexter down and says, "Let's keep this party going." And Dexter's face just breaks into this wild, ecstatic grin. That new look in Zeke's eyes is exactly what he has been waiting for. He roars out, "Yes, that is how you should be." Zeke just blasts forward, completely covered in that purple aura. A new skill, Swift Steps, kicks in, shooting him forward at high speed. He lets loose a storm of attacks, moving way faster than he was a second ago. Dexter just smirks, batting away every single blow like it is nothing. He notes that while the kid is fast, it is nothing compared to some of the other people he has faced. But the thing that is really getting him hyped is the pure, burning spite in Zeke's eyes. Dexter thinks, his spite goes beyond simple tenacity. I absolutely love it. Deciding to get serious, Dexter's hand begins to glow with a faint blue light. He's decided to use his aura. Meanwhile, Zeke's draconian skill, Might of the Dragon, is already fired up. Dexter's eyes widen as a golden dragon-like pupil flashes above him and Zeke's sword is aimed right at his face. He effortlessly blocks Zeke's next sword strike, breaking the sword. The impact sends a shockwave ripping through the air. Even the mercenary himself is stunned by Zeke's power, muttering, "What just happened?" Suddenly, Zeke kicks up a huge cloud of dust, trying to blind Dexter. Dexter just stands there calmly in the middle of it all, thinking the kid has just made it harder for himself to see too. He could not be more wrong. In an instant, Zeke is right behind him, his sword ready to end it all. A system window pops up for Zeke, announcing his draconian skill, Dragon Eyes, has activated. With this skill, he can see through the dust. The sword is aiming for Dexter, Doubt. Zeke slashes, but, "What's this?" It goes through him. Then, in a crazy gust of wind, Dexter just disappears. Is this Dexter? Duke Draker's secret move? Zeke can only stare in total shock. A single dash just created a literal windstorm. Is this why he is known as the Gale Knight? Suddenly, a voice speaks from behind him. "What?" Zeke yells in surprise. "Let's just call this a draw, kid," Dexter says as he slams a vicious palm strike right into Zeke's chest. The sheer force sends Zeke flying through the air. He spits out a mouthful of blood while his sword goes tumbling out of his hand. He slams into the ground hard, his body finally giving out on him. A system alert flashes in his head. Due to excessive skill use, your fatigue has surpassed the acceptable limit. Lying there in the dirt, all Zeke can get out is, "Wow, like master, like disciple, really." Then a final, critical warning pops up. For your safety, your consciousness will be forcefully shut down. His vision starts to blur and the world goes black as he sees Dexter's distant silhouette. Zeke groans as he wakes up, a super fancy ceiling slowly coming into focus. "This is my room," he realizes. "Did Duke bring me here?" He flops back onto the bed, totally frustrated. "Ha, I almost won," he sighs before admitting, as expected of a Black Knight. He starts replaying the fight in his head, breaking down his whole strategy. The plan was to wear Dexter down with constant attacks, then use Might of the Dragon to make an opening and finish it with his dragon eyes. But obviously that was not enough. That last super fast move Dexter pulled out had to be his secret technique. So yeah, he lost the bet and passed out from pushing his skills too hard, but it was totally worth it because now he has seen it. It all clicks for Zeke now. The Duke's secret move is some insane high-speed art that requires an unbelievably well-trained body. That is how a man with naturally weak stamina like Andre could climb all the way to the rank of Red Knight. He might have missed his shot to learn the move, but the experience was still valuable. Plus, he learned about his own power. The pressure from Might of the Dragon is intense enough to make even a Black Knight flinch. Suddenly, he blinks. A system window materializes right in front of him. You have an unopened message. Confirm? He accepts, and a flood of notifications pours in. His rank D skill, Swift Steps, has evolved into the rank C skill, High-Speed Movement. Another message explains that his soul has developed because he showed such a strong will, activating more of his system's functions. He can now use karma points to unlock new features. There are a lot of new options to purchase, like a mini-map for 20 points, an inventory function, also 20 points, and also an elementary-level quest book for low-ranking administrators, but that one costs 45 points. Seeing as he only has 40 karma points, the choice is pretty obvious. Let's check inventory first, he decides, tapping the glowing yes on the screen to confirm the purchase. A series of instructions chime in. He can store items by selecting them and retrieve them just by thinking of their name or shape. Then there's a grid that shows the initial storage space. Zeke sits on his bed, puzzled for a moment. Select the item I want, then it clicks. He activates his skills just by thinking about them, so this must be the same principle. He grabs the heavy claymore leaning against his bed, focuses his mind, and repeats the command, save, save, save. In a flash of blue light, the massive sword dematerializes right out of his hands. He looks back at the system window, and sure enough, a tiny icon of his claymore now sits in the top left corner, taking up 2 of the available slots. He tests the retrieval function, simply thinking of his sword. Instantly, it materializes back in his grip with another flash of light. A grin spreads across his face. This is way better than just a subspace storage. He remembers his past life, lugging around expensive artifacts and gear, always struggling with where to put everything. Now, he has a pocket dimension he can upgrade with points. He scoffs at his low-rank administrator title, wondering what insane abilities he'll get at higher ranks. He grips his sword, his face grave. These points are valuable, so he can't waste them recklessly. He will have to carefully plan his progression from here on out. Just then, a knock comes from his door. "Can I come in, young master?" a familiar voice asks. "It's Decker." "Come in," Zeke replies. Decker enters and informs him that he's got a message. When Zeke asks who it is from, the butler specifies it is from someone who called himself Garden Keeper Dexter. The name makes Zeke jolt in surprise. A sly smirk creeps onto Zeke's face as he takes the note. It is a hastily scrawled message from Dexter. "Kid, if you want to challenge me again, come whenever." Zeke remembers Dexter's parting words. "Let's call this a draw, kid," and he realizes what the mercenary meant. It was not an admission of failure on Zeke's part. It was an open invitation. The opportunity is still there. Clenching his fist, Zeke's resolve hardens, a determined grin on his face. "I have one more thing to tell you," Decker adds, grabbing Zeke's attention. The butler informs him that he found the blacksmith Zeke had asked about before. Zeke's eyes light up. "Really? When is the appointment?" he asks eagerly. But Decker's expression turns grim as he adjusts his monocle. "There is a problem," he says slowly. "The blacksmith refused the appointment," Decker states bluntly. Zeke is floored. "What? Why?" he yells out in disbelief as the scene shifts to the blacksmith's workshop. The place is a complete wreck, with tools and unfinished swords scattered everywhere. A man with long, dark hair is passed out over a table, surrounded by empty bottles of booze. Decker's voice provides the final, damning explanation: he does not make weapons anymore. Okay, so Zeke hops off the carriage, right? He's checking out this old workshop, feels kind of familiar, like stepping back in time or something. The sign up top says Papnir's Breath. Sounds epic, right? But the place itself? Yeah, it's looking pretty busted these days. He swings open the creaky door, calling out, "Anyone home?" Silence and scattered junk are his only welcome. Now, back in his past life, this dude Galleon, aka the legendary blacksmith of the soul, he actually forged Zeke this insane sword, Graham, as a thank you for saving his life. Graham was called the Sword of Radiance, and it had this crazy ability to swap out ether for aura. This guy was supposed to be the greatest blacksmith on the whole continent. So like, what in the world happened here? This place is a total mess. Galleon spots Zeke. "Huh? Kid? This ain't your playground," he grumbles. Totally dismissive and honestly looking way less sharp than Zeke remembers. Zeke's wondering, why is Galleon so grumpy? What changed? This isn't the legend he knew. But Zeke, he's not backing down. He just casually snags a bucket of water and splash, dumps it right over Galleon, literally jerking him back to reality. "Alright, are you awake now?" Zeke asks with a grin. "I want to know why you rejected my commission," he presses. Straight to the point. Galleon's eyes go wide. "Draker?" he yells. "Yeah, Zeke's name?" That snaps him sober real quick. But man, he still declines. He's totally struggling, like, how can I even craft stuff for other people if I can't even get myself going? He's really down in the dumps about his own creativity. Ah, okay. So even the legend Galleon had a slump like this. Zeke met him when he was already at his absolute peak back then, so he never saw this side, never knew what Galleon went through before all that. He probably didn't want to share his embarrassing past, right? Galleon just spirals deeper into self-doubt, questioning everything. Problem is, Zeke doesn't exactly have time to wait around for this guy to pull himself out of this rut. So Zeke just straight up bellows Galleon's name, snapping him out of that misery real quick. Zeke, totally unfazed, assures him, "Look, I came here to see your failures." Galleon, kinda dazed, just obeys and guides him to the back. There's no doubt about it. Zeke has to get Galleon back on track. The continent needs this blacksmith. Galleon apologizes for the mess. "It's fine, it's charming," Zeke says, trying to lighten the mood. He walks around inspecting all these reject swords piled up. He checks them out, one by one. But get this, none of these are actually failures. They still got that quality like his best work. He pops his dragon eyes and yup, confirms it. Looks like his hunch was totally on point. Hey, is there maybe a problem with your brazier? Zeke questions, which totally surprises Galleon Boar. You have your own unique way of smelting, right? Zeke probes, digging deeper. Zeke breaks down Galleon's whole technique, mixing metals to forge this lighter, way better material. But, the durability? That seems to be the issue. Zeke points out. He even swings his own sword against one of Galleon's rejects, and bam, it just smashes apart, easy peasy. Zeke analyzes it. The problem is basically impurities that didn't get purged during the process. Galleon is absolutely blown away by how Zeke figured out the core problem so fast. Galleon gets that feeling like Zeke might just be the guy he needs, the one who can help him break through. He invites Zeke inside. He had something big to ask him. But first, there was one thing he just had to show Zeke. Galleon presents a blueprint. See this, he asks, showing Zeke his ultimate secret. It's a design for a magic brazier, but it's still unfinished. Man, back in his past life, Galleon only revealed this crazy secret to Zeke after Zeke saved his life. This magical brazier would let you control smelting temperatures perfectly using magic. Imagine the crafting potential. But why haven't you built it yet? Zeke inquires. The most important part of the design involves mana energy laws. And the magic tower? They charge a whopping 10,000 gold just to make that part. 10,000 gold! Galleon figures it would take him like 10 years minimum just to save up that much. Okay, so here's the deal Galleon proposes. Because of Zeke's family and status, he can get this magic brazier made. In exchange, Galleon will craft anything Zeke wants, totally free for the rest of his life. That's an OP trade. Zeke's thinking about that 10,000 gold. Man, even for a pure blood, that's a serious chunk of change. But he just cannot give up on getting this legendary sword forged. Then, bam, an idea hits him. The whole issue is about mana energy laws, right? And Zeke knows exactly who can help with that. Someone way cheaper than the magic tower, probably. Alright, I'll do it, Zeke decides, instantly sparking hope in Galleon's eyes. Yep, he's gonna call in a favor from a certain mage he knows. But first, a quick side quest. Dude, stop drinking. Zeke advises Galleon, seriously stay sober for the epic crafting. Galleon, totally overwhelmed with gratitude, offers Zeke eternal service, tears flowing, and maybe a bit too much snot happening. Honestly, this guy's sniffly, teary-eyed gratitude? Kinda gotta love it. Alright, scene change. We cut over to the Draker Academy professorial research buildings. Zeke's just strolling along, kinda grumbling to himself. He's thinking about how ridiculous those mage tower fees are for something that seems like a total piece of cake to him. He's heading towards his professor Fanon's place, the guy whose specialty is literally the design of mana energy laws. Zeke rounds a corner and suddenly his eyes lock onto something. Whoa, instant tension in his stare, like he senses something seriously messed up lurking in the shadows. He remembers this dark alley. Back in the past, this is where he used to get straight up bullied. This is where he was forced to grovel at Leon Conrad's feet, feeling utterly helpless. His face is a mess of cuts and bruises, and yet he's the one apologizing. But what does he get in return? Just more beating and more bullying. Zeke remembers every single painful, messed up detail gritting his teeth. And now, back in the present, he hears those same familiar sounds. Yep, looks like Leon's back to his old terrible tricks. He's calling some poor kid vermin. And get this, he's whining that Zeke was the same. What a loser, still obsessed. Leon's absolutely seething about Zeke's pure blood awakening. All that bottled up rage he has for Zeke, he's just taking it all out on this poor defenseless kid. He still can't accept that Zeke beat him in their match. He's still making excuses, blaming some surprise attack. Dude, get over it, Zeke just got better. But how could this vermin, who supposedly only beat him by pure luck, suddenly become a pure blood awakener? Leon's rage is absolutely off the charts. He's losing it. And then Zeke steps in. Total Chad move. Oh hey Freckle, he calls out casually. He asks if Leon's already got his next victim, replacement, lined up. Zeke suddenly goes dead quiet. The calm before the storm. And then his eyes just blaze with pure fire. He yells, "Alright, you got 3 seconds. Get your faces planted on the ground, now." What? Leon mutters, caught off guard by Zeke's sudden arrival. He starts running his mouth about Zeke's pure blood awakening, but our boy Zeke is not having any of it. Zeke's eyes flare up with a nasty purple energy as he tells them to shut up and get on the ground or else. Leon feels a sudden wave of pressure, making him sweat and gasp for air. He couldn't believe it. Just a few months ago, Zeke was a total weakling that he used to walk all over. And now he, Leon, is actually afraid. He spits out, "How dare you, an inferior being, tell me what to do." Losing his cool completely, Leon screams at his boys to attack Zeke now. The goons charge in, but Zeke just stands there. He gives them one last warning, telling them not to blame him for what happens next. We start with the first guy to throw a punch. Zeke, shrouded in a dark aura, deflects it like it's nothing and smashes an elbow right into the guy's face. He moves like a ghost, a blur of pure calculated violence in the tight alleyway. He's using everything from kicks and throws to the handle of his training sword to take these clowns apart one by one. Blood goes flying as he systematically demolishes every single one of them in a whirlwind of absolute mayhem. Leon just stares, his face a perfect picture of absolute horror and disbelief. He's thinking, there is just no way this is happening. Zeke calmly steps over the moaning bodies of Leon's crew who are all down for the count. Leon's thoughts spiral. Is this really Zeke Draker? The same guy he knew? Zeke steps in close, smirking. Don't be scared. It will only hurt for a little bit, he says. Totally panicked, Leon makes a huge mistake and draws a real sword. He screams like a coward, telling Zeke to stay back or he'll get cut. Zeke just gives him a cold, dead stare. Did you seriously just draw your sword outside the training area? Zeke asks. You know what this means, right? Leon freezes up as he realizes what he's done. But Zeke is not letting this go, declaring that he will retaliate in the name of honor. He formally declares a duel to the death. He then points to a beaten-up Liam Stone, naming him as the official witness. Zeke takes one step forward, dragging his sword along the ground. And that single sound is all it takes. Leon completely breaks, apologizing, dropping his sword and collapsing to his knees. Wait, did he just pee his pants? He pleads with Zeke to let him go. Our boy looks down at this pathetic worm. A memory flashes in his mind of him begging just like this in front of Leon Conrad in his previous life. His face turns to pure contempt as he thinks, what a foolish guy. And in a split second, he moves and a blade of light cuts through. He doesn't kill him though. Instead he says he'll be taking an ear as payment. One clean slice later, and Leon's ear is on the ground in a puddle of blood. Leon lets out a horrifying scream, grabbing the side of his head in agony. Zeke says if he sees that the ear is reattached the next time they meet, he'll take something else. With pure killing intent in his eyes, he lets it be known the next target would be Leon's head. He smashes Leon's face into the pavement and just walks away, leaving him a bloody mess on the ground. As Zeke is leaving, Liam manages to get up. He asks Zeke why he helped him. Don't worry about it, Zeke tells the stunned boy. He says with a strange, almost pained smile that he wasn't helping him. He was helping himself. And with that, he walks off. Now that he's alone, Zeke lets out a sigh, wondering if Galleon is rubbing off on him since he almost said something super cringy. Later, he's at the Academy Galleon Research Lab. Will this be possible? He asks Fanon. Inside, he unrolls a seriously complex blueprint. Fanon looks over the document, then says it would be better if Zeke listened to the explanation first. The professor says it should be possible to build, but there's a huge problem with the power core. He explains that the design is insane. It needs a tiny core with a massive power output that can be adjusted on the fly. But is it possible? Zeke presses on. So the professor gives Zeke two options. First, he could redesign the core himself, but that would take forever. And by forever he means 15 years, which completely shocks Zeke. The second option is to use a different material for the core instead of making a new one from scratch. And that special material is a high-compression mana stone. Zeke is floored. Isn't that an ancient artifact that can't even be made with modern tech? The professor confirms it, saying finding a relic is hard, but finding one that can handle the power of Zeke's design is basically impossible. And even if they found one, the price would be insane, over 3,000 gold. This news hits Zeke like a truck. 15 years is too long, and over 3,000 gold is a crazy amount. He grabs his head in frustration. He absolutely cannot give up on forging Graham the Sword of Radiance. Zeke thinks about his situation. Everyone at the academy thinks he's some genius aura user. But the truth is, he can't use aura at all. His actual power, the ability to control ether, is a skill that's unheard of. And he can't use any sword skill that uses aura. And compared to ether, aura is easier to use. More versatile. That's why he needs Graham the Sword of Radiance. Right now, the path looks impossible. Zeke wonders how in the world he's supposed to get a high-compression mana stone. Meanwhile, the professor geeks out over the blueprints, praising the designer's genius for the efficient and advanced design, surpassing even Golden Age relics. Big brain moment incoming. Golden Age relic? Zeke thinks. A huge grin spreads across his face. He wonders why he didn't think of it before. Zeke tells Fanon to hold on to the designs until he gets back, all his despair totally gone. The professor jokes, asking if he wants him to spend the next 15 years on it, but Zeke just laughs as he heads for the door. He turns back with a confident smirk and declares that he'll bring one. He gives the stunned professor a crazy grin and clarifies a high-compression mana stone, that is. So way back in the day, the world was run by dragons during the so-called Golden Age. Of course, humanity was not having any of that and fought back in a massive liberation war. That whole war finally ended when the absolute legend, a hero named Terrakin Draker, took down the evil dragon Bahamut. And just like that, humanity got a solid 100 years of peace. During all that quiet time, people started digging up relics from an even older period, the age of the Hero King, which was apparently the prime time for magic. They were finding all kinds of insane artifacts and techniques that were light years ahead of anything modern. One of the biggest game changers they found was the high-compression mana stone, a single rock that could power an entire village all by itself. Zeke heads straight for the Drake Central Library, though it's rarely used. It's maintained because it was supposedly built by the hero Terracon. One day, during the expansion of a records room, relics from the Golden Age were discovered. It was such a big haul that the Magic Tower and the Archmage of Nirvana had to be involved in the excavation, and there were countless news articles about it. But that day isn't supposed to happen in another 10 years. So right now, Zeke is strolling through the totally silent Central Library records room. He lets out a sigh, muttering that he could look all day and still never find it this way. But Zeke isn't relying on a normal search. He's got dragon eyes to help him. Instantly, his left eye starts to blaze with a golden, draconic light. Using this new enhanced vision, he walks confidently down the aisles. Then he suddenly freezes, his eyes locked onto the floor. His dragon eyes are picking up a faint, glowing red shape hidden on one of the floor tiles, and he just smirks, saying, "Bingo." He gives the tile a quick tap, and the hollow sound confirms his suspicion that this is the spot. He leaps up, a swirling purple energy gathering in his hand as he chants, "Soul of the Spirit, cut." It basically lets him turn his willpower into a physical thing with properties, like making it cut, which is exactly what he needs right now. The only problem is that it costs a ridiculous amount of ether. He grits his teeth and clutches his head as he feels the power draining him, but the skill actually works. With a loud clatter, the floor tile slides to the side, revealing a dark, hidden staircase leading down. He whips out a torch to light the way and starts heading down. He thinks to himself that the news articles about this place never mentioned it would be this deep, but then he freezes in his tracks. A strange rattling sound is echoing up from the darkness below. Hold on, something is not right, because these ruins are not supposed to be found for another 10 years. He carefully peeks around a corner, wondering if someone could have possibly found this place before him. And then, he sees them. Skeletons. There are two of them just shambling around in the dark, but they are holding shovels and pickaxes, not swords. He quickly realizes these aren't powerful lich's work, so they're basic undead and easy to defeat. The system announces that his critical strike skill is now active. With a brilliant flash of purple energy, Zeke lurches forward and his blade slices clean through both skeletons in one smooth move. As their bones rattle and fall to the floor, a new system window pops up. It tells him that for defeating 2 skeletons he has earned 2 karma points. Zeke just blinks, completely surprised. He completely forgot that he can just farm points by killing monsters down here. A slow, wicked grin starts to spread across his face. He thinks to himself, wait a minute, this is the perfect opportunity to farm a ton of points. Forgetting all about his original mission, he starts charging deeper into the dungeon, yelling for his lovely points. He starts making short work of all the undead, just smashing through skeleton after skeleton. Every single one he takes down gets him another karma point. Before long, he is standing in a hallway littered with shattered bones, and a quick check of his status shows he is already up to 40 karma points. He quickly skims through his locked abilities, checking out what's on offer. For now, the choice is obvious. He can only purchase the minimap at the moment. The system immediately confirms that the minimap feature has been activated. A simple 2-dimensional map appears in front of him, showing his location with a little red arrow. He is a little underwhelmed, observing that it just looks like a regular magic map. But then he notices a strange button on the map's interface and wonders what it could be. He taps it, and the system dings again, announcing that the minimap has been converted from 2D to 3D. And just like that, the simple map explodes into a full, holographic 3-dimensional projection of the entire ruins floating right there in front of his face. His eyes go wide with excitement. Now that's what you call a sweet upgrade. As he looks over the new layout, he sees that one room in particular is glowing bright red, unlike all the others. He reaches out and touches the red room on the hologram, and a prompt appears asking if he would like directions to the selected grave of the Dragon Slayer storage room. Huh? Storage room? His mind is absolutely blown because in the original timeline it took the search party days to find this room, but he just found its location with total ease. Without even a second of hesitation, his finger smashes the yes button. The system tells him that it will now provide the quickest route to his destination. And then, a glowing blue path materializes on the stone floor in front of him, lighting up the way forward. Zeke just starts laughing like a maniac, completely unable to believe this is happening. There is absolutely no way he can get lost now. The glowing trail leads him straight to a massive, intricately designed door. He pushes it open, but the thing is sealed completely shut. Suddenly, a crackle of energy erupts from the door. Zeke quickly pulls his hand away. It's a security spell, he realizes. He stumbles back and looks at his smoking glove, realizing this powerful security magic must be why the magic tower got involved in the original timeline. His expression hardens as he mutters that he would have lost his entire hand if it was not for his special gloves. Zeke stares at the massive door, letting out a frustrated sigh. Brute force was out of the question. Then, just for fun, he asks, "System, can you not open it for me?" To his absolute shock, a blue notification window actually chimes into existence saying it has received the administrator's request and will now connect to the security device. Zeke's eyes go wide in disbelief as he just screams, "What the?" He completely freezes. "Wait, are you responding to what I just said?" The system answers him, confirming everything. It says, "Yes, I am. Do you have any more requests, Administrator Zeke Draker?" Zeke is absolutely floored as he thinks, I can talk with the system. And if it can talk, that means it can answer questions. So he immediately asks the one question that has been haunting him ever since he came back to the past. "Why did you force me to regress?" The system's response is fast and completely unhelpful, just saying it cannot answer the following question. Fine, he tries another question. "What is this administrator system?" And he gets the exact same digital stonewall. Getting a little desperate now, he asks, "Who made you?" But once again he gets the exact same message. After he throws a few more questions at it, the system just goes back to its original prompt. Zeke runs a hand through his hair, totally exasperated. He mutters that he is not getting answers to any of the important questions. Giving up on the questions for now, he turns back to the door and just commands it to open. The system immediately confirms his request. The fancy metalwork on the giant doors begins to glow with a purple energy, and with a deep, groaning sound, they slowly start to swing open. Zeke's jaw hits the floor. The room on the other side is a gigantic vault, and it is filled to the ceiling with stacks of treasure chests. This is it, the legendary hoard of the Dragon Slayer. In his past life, finding just one single relic from a place like this was basically a miracle. And now, an entire treasure trove is laid out right in front of him. He starts laughing like a madman, yelling about how there must be hundreds of these things. He immediately starts digging around, stuffing items in his pockets. With a greedy grin plastered on his face, he keeps searching until he finds the thing he was really here for. He opens up a specific chest, and inside are 4 glowing tubes. It is the high-compression mana stones, and his smile gets even wider when he sees there are 4 of them. He spends a karma point to expand his inventory, but there's still not enough space for all this loot. He plops down on a chest with a smug look on his face. No way he can carry all of this stuff. He'll just have to come back here on the regular until he graduates. He gets up to leave, thinking this should be enough for one day. He adjusts his backpack, a confident smirk on his face as he gets ready to head out. But just as he turns to go, he stops dead in his tracks. A sudden chill runs down his spine. What is this ominous feeling? He looks down at his hand and sees a terrifying red energy starting to swirl around it, and the dragon crest on his glove is glowing like crazy. All of a sudden, the energy explodes out from him, trapping him in a vortex of red magical circles. And poof. Just like that, he disappears. The surge of red energy causes Zeke to drop to one knee, his whole world violently shifting. He looks around, totally dazed, trying to figure out where the heck he is. The place is a massive cavern filled with giant stone pillars and way too many stone coffins. The system finally answers his question, telling him he is in the home of the Dragon Slayer. Zeke stares at the coffins, positive that there was nothing about a secret tomb in the Academy brochures. Getting curious, he opens his minimap to check his location. And just as he thought, he is close to where he was before, but there are no paths leading here. This is a 100% secret, undiscovered area. A huge grin spreads across his face because you know our boy cannot pass up a hidden dungeon. He walks up to the closest coffin and shoves the heavy lid open. Inside is not some dusty skeleton, but a full set of shiny plate armor. The system immediately identifies it as exclusive equipment for a Dragon Slayer. Zeke runs a hand over the armor. Cold, smooth, fancy. This stuff is way different from the Golden Age gear he knows, but then he spots something weird on the chest plate. There is a perfect round hole just sitting there glowing faintly. His eyes go wide. Wait a minute. He whips out one of the high-compression mana stones, shoving the stone right into the armor's chest. A system message pops up, confirming he just installed a mana battery and that the equipment is now activated. The armor's visor suddenly flashes with a bright green light. Zeke lets out a smug little smirk, super pleased with himself. But the armor starts shaking like crazy, rattling in its coffin as green energy erupts from it. Zeke stumbles back, shouting, "What is happening?" The energy flares up into a blinding flash of light. Then the system drops the bad news. An overload caused by equipment failure has caused the activation to fail. We estimate an explosion will occur, but before it can even finish, the armor blows up. Covered in soot, Zeke just deadpans, "It already exploded, man." Zeke dusts himself off, still in shock. It is insane to think this ancient armor needed a high-compression mana stone just for its basic power source. What kind of crazy features did this thing have to need that much juice? He makes a mental note to ask Fanon about it later. For now, the search continues. But as he moves through the hall, every other coffin he checks is completely empty. He finally makes it to the very last and biggest chamber in the hall. This room is huge and empty except for one thing. A massive glass cube stands right in the middle. Zeke cautiously walks up to it and pulls up the info panel, and his eyes just about pop out of his head. Tarakan Draker, he says. Zeke cannot believe it, muttering that his ancestor was absolutely nuts. The system confirms what is inside the cube. The legacy of Tarakan Draker, the heart of the cursed light dragon, Bahamut, has been found. An image of the terrifying dragon flashes in his mind as a glowing, beating heart appears inside the glass. Leaving behind the heart of the dragon you slayed, that is one heck of a crazy dying gift. So this must be where that ominous feeling was coming from. But then, something else starts to happen. He feels this weird pull towards the heart. A new notification pops up. The heart of the cursed light dragon, Bahamut, is reacting to the administrator. Before Zeke can even do anything, shadowy tendrils explode from the cube, wrapping around his arm and his entire body. A voice floods his mind, whispering twisted agreements like, "Yes, I hear you. Yes, I had no choice. Yes, I understand." Zeke's eyes start glowing with a nasty red light as the voice makes a final, terrifying promise. "Yes, I'll kill them all." Right as he is about to be completely taken over, his class skill kicks in. Indomitable mental defense has been activated. The evil influence backs off for a second and Zeke gasps for air, clutching his head. Kill them all? Why would I do that? He thinks, completely horrified as the dark power pulls back a little. But the break does not last long. The curse comes roaring back, this time way stronger, filling the room with a storm of dark energy. What is going on? He screams into the chaos. A new system window pops up, announcing an urgent quest, Tarakan Draker's test. His mission is to defeat the curse from Bahamut's heart and claim it for himself. Our boy just got hit with a surprise boss fight. No warning, no cutscene, just vibes and violence. The curse slams back into his mind with full force. His mental defense skill tries to kick in again. He tries again, but nope, system hits him with a brutal error. Skill activation failed. The curse takes over, and nasty red veins start spreading all over his skin. The whispers turn into a deafening scream inside his head. Kill them all, except me, and you will be free. He collapses against a stone slab, totally overwhelmed by the mental attack. But even through all the pain, he starts to fight back. Stop mumbling, you're so annoying, he snarls. You'll give me freedom? He shoves himself back up, his eyes looking wild. Freedom is won, you know. The glass cube explodes into pieces. A massive shockwave of red and black energy erupts from his body, and the system announces his win. You have won against the Light Dragon's curse. You have completed the urgent quest. As a reward, you have obtained ownership over Tarakan's dying gift. Zeke collapses, panting like crazy. That could have been worse, he thinks, totally shaken up. His mental defense flopped hard. Then suddenly, warmth hits. Healing factor activated. And now he's got infinite stamina. Okay, pop off. System's just handing out upgrades now. Another message appears. He is now absorbing the heart of the cursed light dragon, Bahamut. He looks up, still confused and bleeding from that psychic beatdown. Suddenly, the glowing dragon heart zips across the room and slams right into him. The power surge is immediate, and it is agonizing. What's happening now? He screams. A pure, super dense source of mana is flowing straight into him. There is just one small problem here. Zeke does not have mana circles like a normal mage does, so all this insane power has nowhere to go. It starts tearing his body apart from the inside. The raw energy is about to rip him to pieces, and he knows he needs to act fast. Thinking fast, Zeke summons his own unique power, the Spirit of the Soul. He comes up with a super risky, totally insane plan to seal the wild mana. With that same crazy grin, he decides to wrap the chaotic red mana with his own purple ether. He is going to force it all into a brand new ether hole that he is creating inside his own body. The two powers collide and a massive explosion of light and energy erupts, carving a crater in the floor. All that energy condenses down into a pulsating, fleshy-looking mass. Then Zeke's body twists and contorts as he absorbs the impact. He drops to one knee, gasping for breath. Phew, I guess I lived, he wheezes. A demonic-looking sigil is glowing right where the energy went in. He looks around the room. The heart is gone from the floor, and the pedestal is totally empty. He confirms to himself that the mana was 100% from Bahamut. Then he finally notices the sigil burned onto his uniform. What is this? He wonders, touching the mark on his chest. He figures it must have formed back when he sealed all that mana. Suddenly, his whole system interface goes completely haywire. A new alert confirms he successfully absorbed the dragon's heart. A ton of notifications just start flooding his screen. His body gets the divine upgrade. System panics, seals 95% of the juice. Good news? Air status unlocked the starter pack library, quests, and tutorial. Zeke just stares at all the floating windows, completely confused. What the heck is all this stuff? Deciding it is way too much to think about right now, he tries to close all the notifications. Wait, he says, stopping himself. He keeps just one last window open. Looks like my ancestor was feeling generous, he smirks. The system asks him one simple question. Would you like to open Tarakan Draker's other dying gift? Zeke kicks back in his fancy room at the Platinum Mansion, noting how hard it is to make the new sword. It's been a full week since his epic showdown with Duke Draker. A week since Duke slipped him a note basically saying, "Come find me again." Zeke has a gut feeling that things are about to get real. Just then, someone appears behind him. It's Duke himself. And man, he does not look happy. Why didn't you come? He asks. Zeke immediately starts sweating. The look in Duke's eyes is pure, killing intent, and you can tell he is 100% serious. But Zeke, being Zeke, tries to play it off with a cocky grin, saying he just didn't feel like taking up Duke's challenge. Yeah, bad move. Duke is not having it. He wants nothing but the truth. In an instant, he blitzes across the room, grabs Zeke by the collar and yanks him off his feet. Before Zeke can even blink, Duke straight up yeets him through the window. Our boy is now free-falling from a crazy height. He's panicking, thinking he's gonna splat before his healing can even kick in. In a last-ditch effort, he desperately grabs onto the balcony below him. But guess who's still holding onto his collar, staring down at him like a bug? Duke. Duke sarcastically asks if Zeke really has no intention of challenging him again, saying he's sure Zeke knows exactly what he wants. He points out that this is the second time Zeke has blown him off. It's almost like Zeke is trying to get on his bad side. Duke's eyes narrow, giving him a final ultimatum: 5 seconds to tell the truth, or else, and the countdown begins. 5. With blood dripping from his mouth, Zeke just smirks and calls Duke funny. 4. 3. Zeke decides to drop the bomb. Duke hasn't even revealed who he really is. The truth, Zeke knows his secret identity as the garden keeper Dexter. And just like that, Duke's menacing look melts into a sly grin. He lets go for a split second, only to catch Zeke and hurl him back into the room like a sack of potatoes. Zeke smashes through a cabinet, and Duke casually admits he's right. He confesses that he was once a Black Knight of Draker. Duke Draker properly introduces himself. Wasting no time, Zeke drops to his knees and launches into this super dramatic formal apology for being disrespectful. Duke is totally bewildered, asking if Zeke planned this whole thing, while Zeke just thinks to himself how shameless he is. Zeke's not letting it slide. Wait, you were a Black Knight? Then Duke's like, yeah, then hits that topic switch like he's dodging a bullet. Now Zeke is super curious because he knows knights can get promoted, but he's never heard of one being demoted. Duke cuts him off, telling him to drop it. Feeling the sudden tension, Zeke smartly decides to let it go for now. Our boy decides it's time for his own truth bomb. He knew Duke's identity all along, and his entire plan was to annoy Duke so much that he'd have no choice but to take him on as an apprentice. Duke is stunned silent for a second, amused at the sheer guts of this kid. All right, he shouts. I'll make you my apprentice, he declares. Zeke is completely floored. He's thinking, wait, that actually worked? But he's not about to question his good luck, so he immediately kneels down again and recites a super formal, old-school apprentice's vow. Duke is impressed, and Zeke just coolly replies that knowing culture is part of being a knight. Duke glares and mutters, "You sly snake," and Zeke takes that as a massive compliment. Now that they're master and apprentice, Zeke has a question for an embarrassed Duke who doesn't like being called master. He asks why Duke accepted him. The guy is famous for never taking students except for the so-called genius of the century, Andre. So why him, and why so easily? Of course, in Zeke's mind the answer is obvious. Duke must have seen his insane potential, a talent even greater than Andre's. Duke just tells him to take a guess. When Zeke says it must be his genius bloodline, Duke dismisses it, saying if that were the case he would have picked Reina from the Tarun family. The real reason was much simpler. He liked Zeke's tenacity. He explains that pure talent isn't enough to become a red or black knight. Geniuses who've never struggled just crumble under pressure. They get stuck at the blue knight level forever despite expectations. Duke decides enough with the talking, it's time to get down to business. Follow me, apprentice. It's time for your first lesson. He leads Zeke to this gigantic secret gym hidden under the greenhouse. The first order is simple: run. 3 brutal hours later, Zeke is still doing laps. Finally, Duke screams for him to stop. As Zeke catches his breath, the Duke says he has one question for him. Zeke tries to act all cool and confident, flashing a smile at his new master. But Duke is done playing games. A terrifying presence explodes from him. And before Zeke can even react, Duke tries to grab his wrist. Zeke dodges his grab with pinpoint speed. Duke's left reeling while Zeke blurs out of reach, already halfway across the room. Duke's hand looks cooked. He looks at it, half impressed, half shook. His face gets dead serious as he asks if Zeke has a problem with him checking his pulse. Zeke stays completely silent as drops of sweat roll down his face. And that's it. The game is over. Duke finally connects all the dots. He tells Zeke he knew something was weird from the very start. He thinks back to their first fight, and then the duel in the greenhouse. And even after making him run 500 laps, Duke realized the most important clue: he never sensed a single drop of aura from Zeke. Zeke's insane durability, him dodging the pulse check, it all leads to one insane conclusion. "Kid, tell me," he starts. With an intense gaze, Duke asks a stunned Zeke one question that changes absolutely everything. "Are you unable to use aura?" The air in the training hall is so thick you could slice it with a sword. Duke Draker casually mentions he saw that bronze statue. He also brings up the massive commotion about that never-before-seen golden light. "If so," he says. Then he leans in, getting right in Zeke's face, and asks, "Why won't you let me check your pulse?" Zeke narrows his eyes instantly. Duke plays it cool, like he's just curious. Zeke realizes this guy's curiosity is basically his priority. He knows he's lucky it's just Duke. All he needs is Graham and his aura problems history. Until then, it's calm face, big brain moves, and no more webs of lies. He might have flopped in his past life, but this time, he's running on a different energy. Zeke starts to remove his glove. "You are correct, Master," he says as the energy changes. Oh yeah, he knows exactly how to play this, and a system window flashes open, skill, mana reflection activated. A crackle of pure energy zips around them as Zeke thinks to himself, "I definitely have mana reflection, and that proves I am a pure blood, but for some reason I just can't use aura." This little piece of the truth is going to be the perfect shield for his big lie. And now it is time for an award-winning performance as Zeke puts on his best acting face and apologizes, his voice shaking. He even starts to tear up, looking like he is absolutely terrified, and cries out, "If anyone finds out that a Draker can't use aura, I'll be kicked out. I am so scared." He holds out his hand and Duke grabs it as a stream of blue energy flows right between them. Zeke then asks, "How is it, Master?" Duke doesn't flinch, just watches, eyes full of quiet suspicion. This kid's vibe? Way too intense for someone his age. But the weirdest part? No aura. At all. And Zeke has awakened, right? He hums to himself, stroking his chin as he thinks it over. Meanwhile, Zeke's smirking inside. Duke's still guessing even after checking his pulse. That's the power of the Draker blessing, right, baby? The fact that Zeke cannot use aura is just one piece of a confusing puzzle, and he is banking on Duke to come up with his own explanation. Any reason at all to deny what he is sensing himself. And just like Zeke planned, Duke lands on an answer, saying, "You are an irregular." He puts a hand on Zeke's shoulder, looking serious. Zeke is not shocked at all, because for someone who has no idea about the concept of classes, it is the only conclusion that makes any sense. Playing the fool, Zeke asks what an irregular is, and Duke explains they are people with weird one-of-a-kind abilities. Like someone who can use both aura and mana together. Or even crazier stuff, like being able to see into the future. He gives Zeke a serious warning, telling him that irregulars get a lot of hate, so he needs to keep this on the down low. Duke then drops his big theory, believing Zeke is an irregular because of his absolutely insane stamina and healing factor. Light wounds are easy, but organs healing in seconds? That is absolutely next level. He turns to Zeke. "Where do you think all that power is coming from?" Aura. His big idea is that Zeke's aura is being used up non-stop for regeneration, leaving almost nothing left for him to sense. With the saddest puppy eyes he can muster, Zeke asks, "So I'll never be able to use aura? I've already disappointed, Master?" Then Duke bursts out laughing. "Don't you worry about that." Sporting a confident grin, Duke reveals that his own fighting style, the Gale Arts, is a special art that does not even need aura. He explains that most special arts come from legendary knights and need aura, usually dragon-slaying stuff. But his Gale Arts? Totally different. They run on pure body mastery, no aura required. "Watch closely," he says, stepping back with a grin. "I'll show you a little demo." With one absolute monster of a stomp, Duke completely shatters the floor under his feet. Zeke's eyes go wide with pure amazement. Duke turns into a literal blur, zipping across the training hall with unbelievable speed, leaving a trail of after-images behind him. He stops, looking like the coolest dude on the planet, and asks, "Did you catch that?" Zeke just says, "Can I follow your footsteps?" Duke scoffs, asking if the kid needs another look, but Zeke just shakes his head and says that is enough. Duke is totally amused by his new disciple's black rank level of confidence and just grins, saying, "Yeah, give it a go." Zeke drops into a low stance as dark energy starts swirling around his feet. His eyes are gleaming with some serious focus. He pushes off, his foot cracking the stone floor as he explodes forward with insane speed. He is perfectly copying every single one of Duke's movements. As he moves through the steps, he starts to see something he missed before. This is a full-on combat style where every single step is made to attack, to dodge, to close the gap, or to make some space. Each and every single move has a purpose. Duke just watches, muttering, "I do not believe it," as Zeke keeps up the perfect copy. He flashes back to just 1 week ago, and yeah, Zeke was talented back then, but he was nowhere near this good. Just what in the world happened in a single week, he thinks, completely blown away. The difference between then and now is literally night and day. His grin stretches wide. Too wide. Duke's internally screaming, "Yup, this one's it. He's perfect." Zeke finishes the whole routine and gives the Duke a smug look, asking, "Is this much enough for me to have the confidence of a black rank?" Just like that, Duke's good mood vanishes, replaced by pure annoyance at this kid's unbelievable arrogance. Duke lunges and pulls Zeke into a headlock. "You little brat? Weren't you just crying?" Zeke flails. "Wait, you are not going to tell anyone, right?" Duke just grins like a villain and says, "That depends on your attitude, my arrogant disciple." All Zeke can do is groan in frustration, thinking, what kind of black knight has such a loose tongue? 1 month later, we are in the academy dining hall. Zeke is absolutely demolishing a mountain of food, including a whole freaking lobster. His appetite has gone through the roof ever since he started training with Duke. As he is stuffing a piece of bread into his mouth, a voice cuts him off. "Could you spare me some time, Zeke Draker? And look who it is, Andre, the Rose Knight." Zeke, with his mouth full, just tells him to go for it. Andre does not beat around the bush. He sits right down and asks, "How did you convince Sir Dexter?" Zeke is smiling on the inside because he knows Andre still is not Duke's disciple, so the news about Zeke becoming one must have him all worked up. Playing dumb, Zeke just shoves more food in his mouth and mumbles, "I did not really do anything. Sir Dexter just picked me out on his own." Andre's eyes narrow with suspicion. "A pure blood, is it?" he asks, and Zeke stops eating, saying, "Huh?" He slams his utensils down on the table. Zeke meets his gaze, voice like frost. "Sounds like someone's got an inferiority complex." Andre's eyes, full red alert. "Is that all you have to say, cadet?" Andre asks, but Zeke is unfazed and calmly says, "Nah, not even halfway through." Zeke stares the Rose Knight down, unbothered. "You really think he chose me just 'cause of my bloodline? You really think a man like that could be that simple?" The fact that he used that intrigue from the fight to lock down his spot as a disciple is testament of his abilities, he declares resolutely. Zeke tosses his used napkin at Andre. "Instead of stroking that fragile ego, maybe try actually putting in some work," he mutters. The scene cuts to the gigantic Western greenhouse arena. A single person is running laps at a desperate pace, his footsteps echoing through the empty hall. And yup, it is Andre. Zeke raises an eyebrow. "What is this, master?" Duke does not even blink. "I was about to ask the same thing." Duke explains that after their little chat, Andre came running to him. The kid was desperate, begging to stay by Duke's side even if it meant being a lowly servant. No aura, 300 laps. That's the deal Duke gave Andre. Zeke's stunned because that's basically a death sentence for anyone without cheat codes. Duke lets out a rough laugh, admitting he sure is a tenacious one, as Zeke thinks, "I thought he just was a self-righteous nerd." They watch Andre push himself way past his limits, sweat just pouring down his face, his eyes red with exertion. Turns out the guy has some serious backbone after all. Back in the dining hall, the remnants of Zeke's lecture, the crushed napkin sits forgotten in a waste bin, a silent testament to the confrontation that sparked this whole ordeal. The whole academy is packed into the courtyard. You just know it's a special day and something massive is about to happen. And yup, it is the day the big boss himself, the patriarch, is scheduled to visit. Suddenly you hear the clatter of hooves as this ridiculously fancy carriage rolls up. It is rocking the Draker family crest, so you know who is inside. An instructor screams out, "The patriarch is entering," and everyone snaps to attention. Head instructor Howard Draker, rocking a seriously epic mustache, tells everyone to look sharp. The huge carriage, flanked by fully armored knights, comes to a halt. The door swings open, and a dude with slick white hair steps out. "It is good to see you again, Howard," he greets the elder warmly. Howard bows, showing a ton of respect as he acknowledges the master of the Drakers. Then, like a perfectly timed wave, voices boom in unison as they greet the master of the Drakers. The clock tower chimes for noon. And just like that, you can feel the patriarch's insane presence, this dark purple aura just bubbling around him. He casually puts a hand on Howard's shoulder and remarks, "You are always so hardworking." Howard just brushes it off, saying it is nothing compared to what the patriarch does. The man's eyes glint as he smiles, saying, "You are the only one who truly understands. Get this. This is Arthur Draker, the third transcendent and the head honcho of the Dragon Slayer Drakers themselves." Howard suggests they head inside, but not before the students in the back finally get a good look at the patriarch. He turns to face them and raises a hand in this epic gesture. A huge gust of wind sweeps across the courtyard as he starts his speech. "You are the hope and future of the Drakers," the patriarch proclaims. "Train hard and train more." His eyes scan the crowd with this intense, almost predator-like focus, declaring, "Your development will be the Drakers' development." The students go absolutely wild, roaring with pure hype and inspiration. With that mic drop moment over, Arthur and Howard turn to go inside. Later, Zeke is in a private room, giving a super formal salute to the patriarch. He finishes with a classic, "With all respect." But Arthur just laughs, telling him, "Nobody greets people like that anymore. Have a seat," as he holds out 2 cups of tea. He even mentions that he heard Zeke likes tea, so he prepared something rare. Zeke is a little creeped out but thanks him anyway, thinking to himself, even the food I like is being reported to him. It just proves the old saying, the emperor might be out of the loop on some things, but a Draker knows everything. Arthur does not waste any time. He starts, I called for you because I heard that Duke actually took in a disciple. Zeke stays cool, thinking he is getting straight to the point. He just replies, he did me a great favor. Arthur sips his tea and agrees, indeed that is true. He starts pressing Zeke. I do not know what your goal is, but if you keep following Duke, Zeke cuts him off, cool and loud. My goal? To be the strongest man on the continent. Arthur's golden eyes narrow just a bit. Zeke does not back down and lays it all out. He wants to be stronger than everyone, so he can finally live his own life, free from anyone else. He puts his cup down with a soft click. That is my goal, he states with a smirk. And bam! In an instant, this crushing, suffocating pressure slams down on the whole room. Arthur's aura just explodes, pinning Zeke right to his chair. You mean to surpass even me? Arthur softly growls. Zeke can barely breathe, fighting against this insane power. He is thinking, is that what I think it is? While sweat pours down his face. He knows this technique. Astral Sword. This is a legendary skill that lets the user dominate every living thing in the area, the absolute peak of aura control that only Black Knights can pull off. Arthur's smirk is absolutely terrifying. Zeke is gritting his teeth, using everything he is just to stay sitting up against the pressure. But the Patriarch looks totally bored, just casually sipping his tea while his power literally bends the air in the room. Arthur cannot believe Zeke's answer. It's the most interesting thing he's heard in ages. So this, Zeke realizes, is the real Patriarch of the Drakers. Arthur flashes a warm smile, all the danger gone from his face. He says, I have come to support both the Academy and you, but I don't think that will be enough. Zeke is still trying to recover. He thought Duke was a monster, but this guy is in a completely different league. Arthur then slides a small fancy card across the table. This is a gift, he says, for having become Duke's disciple. Zeke looks at the box and knows exactly what it is. A black card. Our boy is so shocked he just blurts out, pardon? It seems like you already know what it is, Arthur points out. Oh, Zeke definitely knows. It is a credit card that is only given to a handful of people. It comes with insane perks and, get this, no spending limit. He never dreamed he would actually see one. Arthur says he will have it registered under both their names so Zeke can use it freely. Zeke accepts it politely, saying he will only use it when necessary. But our boy is not stupid. He knows what is up. All that help is just a front. That card's basically a GPS with glitter. The Patriarch's tracking him. Still, he figures if this is all Arthur is doing to watch him, it must mean he is not considered a serious threat, at least not yet. Arthur decides it is time to dip. I shouldn't waste more of your time, he says. You are now excused. Arthur waves him away. Zeke turns around and walks right out of there. The second Zeke is gone, Arthur lets out a huge sigh. That friendly mask he was wearing completely disappears. And right on cue, Duke shows up. You are sickening, he spits out with total disgust. Arthur turns to him, his face a blank slate. Why are you so angry, Duke? He asks. Duke is not having it. He fires back. You are suddenly playing father for that kid after you neglected him this whole time? Arthur's eyes flash. He warns him, you know that I have no choice as the head of the household. What you just said counts as defamation of my character. Duke just scoffs at the threat. Take me away then, he huffs, flopping onto the couch. Arthur's whole vibe changes again, becoming weirdly friendly. You are the only one I can talk to without worries, he admits. Then he pulls out a bottle of liquor. How about a drink to go with our conversation? Duke's eyes immediately light up. Ooh, dragon breath. It is the red one too. You really do have good taste when it comes to drinks, he exclaims. His anger suddenly gone. Arthur pours a glass and gets straight to the point. You know that the atmosphere in the continent has been rather strange lately, right? Duke tries to play it off, saying he has been cooped up in the academy, but Arthur just smiles and mutters, you have eyes and ears all over the place. Duke sighs, knowing he has been busted. So you ask when you already know my answer, you snake, he snarls. Now that the drinks have mellowed things out, it's time to drop the bomb. The Emperor? He's gone unhinged. He's hunting for immortality like it's a missing sock. Arthur looks at Duke. Tell me, do you think it's possible? He presses. Duke scoffs. As if he spits out. He knows magic can make a person look young, but insists that true immortality is impossible. Arthur takes a long, slow sip from his glass. I think the same, he agrees. However, he continues. The Patriarch then drops an absolute bombshell of a question. What if the relic he is looking for is something related to the Elder Dragon? Duke freezes like he just got smacked in the face. His drink's halfway to his mouth, completely forgotten. What? He stammers, stunned. Duke Draker is not buying it. The Emperor wants to live forever? Please. Magic can make you look young, but true immortality is impossible. Or is it? because next door our boy Zeke is listening in, humming with a strange energy like a purple nightlight. He pops his new skill, Soul Manifestation, hearing basically turning on the ultimate eavesdropping mode, and the conversation he's hearing is a big one. Arthur Draker thinks the Emperor's relic might be tied to the legendary Elder Dragon. But Arthur isn't done. He thinks the Emperor might have already found it. In fact, his own Order of Black Knights has a lock on its location. And where is this game-changing loot drop? The northern continent, of course, the most pleasant, definitely not frozen wasteland on the map. Duke takes a sip, processing all this new intel. He asks if this is something the Empire doesn't know about yet. Arthur's like, yep, for now, but he knows their head start won't last forever. This whole mess reminds Duke when that crazy Emperor started a war the second he got the crown. And would you look at that cape? A snarling wolf emblem. Totally not a villain, right? The guy only stopped after burning down half the central continent. Duke really thought he'd given up on his little immortality side quest. But Arthur, with a grim little smirk, says if that artifact works, get ready for round 2 of Continent on Fire. So Arthur's decided to go north himself. Duke absolutely loses it. You're just gonna leave? That would leave their kingdom unguarded. Arthur just gives him this smug smile. That's where you come in, my friend. Classic manipulation. Duke knows he's been played. He just sighs, calling Arthur a sly old fox. So they toast to it. Arthur hits him with a smooth, "You're the best." And Duke just grumbles back, "Yeah, the best at doing all your annoying chores." Meanwhile, Zeke's spy-fi connection is failing. The purple glow fizzles out and bam, he hits the floor. He's completely wiped. Even after absorbing a whole dragon heart, the side effects of this skill are no joke. But his mind is racing. Elder Dragon? Wait a minute, that statue from before his regression. It was an Elder Dragon artifact. Suddenly, it all clicks. The system message, his second chance at life. He literally stole the one thing the Emperor needed for immortality. No wonder the Emperor sent his personal goon squad after him. He was so focused on revenge, he completely missed the real prize. The administrator system was just a feature of the artifact. But that just raises more questions. Who made this thing, and why? He just slumps against the wall. Instead of getting answers, my man just unlocked a whole new list of questions. Back inside, the meeting is over. Duke gives a little wave and heads out, putting his trust in Arthur. Arthur just stands there, watching him go. He pauses at a door, looking all mysterious and thoughtful. Behind the door, Zeke is checking out a piece of the artifact. If this is the key to immortality, how does it even work? Suddenly, a noise. Arthur throws the door open to the room Zeke was just in, but it's empty. Arthur looks around, thinking he's just hearing things. Phew. Just outside, Zeke is hiding in the bushes like a ninja. A bit later, Zeke is grinding in the training hall when Decker shows up. "Young master, you have a visitor. Should I tell them to get lost?" Zeke is stumped. He has 0 friends. He wonders if it's Reyna, then reluctantly tells Decker to let them in. And who walks in? Liam Stone, who immediately face plants on the floor, begging, "Please take me in." Zeke lets out a huge sigh. This is what he gets for being nice. "Take you in? You want to be my subordinate?" Liam is all for it, pledging his undying loyalty. "And what about Jaken?" Apparently Liam's been kicked to the curb. Liam looks desperate, saying he has to get to Valhalla. Zeke remembers this obsession from his past life. What's this guy's deal? But Zeke is not impressed. "Are you stupid?" he asks, telling Liam to go beg one of the actual support families. He lays it out he's not a support family, he can't help him, and besides, he has 0 reason to trust the guy. Zeke just cuts to the chase. "For all I know, you're a spy for Jaken." "Okay, folks, hold on." Liam starts trembling, pulls out a dagger, and without hesitating, slices his own ear. Whoa, brutal. He's panting, but says he gets the doubt. "Want me to be mute?" he offers. "I will cut out my tongue." This dude is unhinged, and it gets worse. "You want me to be a cripple? I will cut off my foot." Then he grabs a sword and actually does it, straight through his own foot. Through all that pain, he makes his final offer. "I will place my life in your hands, my lord." Zeke just watches this whole performance. What the heck did he do that for? Was it because of what he said to Leon Conrad? He remembers telling him, "Instead of your worthless life, I will take your ear." He's seen this level of desperation before. He remembers himself in his past life, a bloody mess, begging his master to take him in, pleading to get stronger than anyone else. He had begged the same way. "Please teach me, master." And now here's Liam, echoing that same desperate plea. So Zeke makes a choice. He flicks a dagger, and it sticks in the ground right near Liam. Liam is just staring at it, completely shocked. And then Zeke gives his condition. 1 strike. Zeke lays out the terms for our desperate boy, Liam Stone. "If you manage to withstand 1 strike from me, I will take you in." A huge, borderline crazy grin spreads across Liam's face. He is just stammering his thanks covered in his own blood. Sometime later, they're back in the training hall. Liam's all patched up and ready to go. Liam thought this would be easy. I mean, he uses Draker Aura too, right? How hard can 1 strike be? But the absolute pressure rolling off Zeke is insane. Liam wonders if they're even on the same level. With his head all bandaged up, Liam is just gritting his teeth, sweating buckets. From where he is standing, Zeke looks far away, but the power is so intense he can barely even breathe. Then, in a flash, Zeke charges. He is a blur of motion, crackling with dark purple energy. Liam just screams, desperately trying to bring his sword up to block. Boom. The swords collide, sending a massive shockwave of energy blasting through the hall. Zeke's attack totally disarms Liam in mere seconds. Liam is just frozen on his knees, completely silent. Zeke looks down at him, totally unimpressed. Liam Stone, is that all you have got? Then he just smirks, resting that giant sword on his shoulder. How miserable. Mr. Congeniality right there, folks. Zeke looks down at the defeated Liam and basically tells him to give up. He acknowledges his grit, but advises him to just pack it in and forget about Valhalla. Zeke figures that it must be true that he was dropped by Yaken. Coming from a branch family, he was lucky to even get into the academy in the first place. And since this school is notoriously brutal, it's no wonder the guy is terrified of getting expelled. It all adds up. Still, there's one thing Zeke can't puzzle out. Why in the world is Liam clinging to him so desperately? Dude, personal space. Suddenly, Zeke flashes back to his past life. He remembers this kid, Liam Stone. He got expelled and his entire knight order he was in fell into ruin. But here's the twist. Against all odds, the guy clawed his way up from nothing to become a legendary Red Knight, the one and only mercenary king. Back in the present, Liam is a blubbering mess, begging for just one more chance. Zeke just watches him, sizing up his resolve. Fine, I'll give you a chance, Zeke says, yanking Liam up by the collar. But there's one little condition. He reminds Liam of the crazy promises he made earlier, about cutting out his tongue or even his feet if ordered. A dark purple aura starts swirling around them as Zeke places a hand on his shoulder. You know it's serious when the angry anime aura comes out. Then, cut off your right arm. With one eye glowing a menacing red, Zeke taunts him, asking, "What's wrong? Is that right arm of yours really so precious?" Zeke thinks he's got this in the bag. He's basically telling the guy to quit being a swordsman. There's no way he'll actually do it. He tells Liam to get lost if he can't go through with it. He's got his own grinding to do. Zeke turns away, completely underestimating the sheer power of this kid's desperation. He just doesn't get it yet. He offers one last piece of advice, which is also a massive future spoiler. Even if you miss Valhalla, you'll definitely reach red rank. Suddenly, he hears the sound of a sword moving. He whips around, totally shocked. Liam, with a completely unhinged look on his face, has grabbed the sword and is about to chop off his own arm. Zeke's only thought is, this crazy bastard. But before the blade can hit, Zeke moves in a flash, slashing the sword right out of his hands and sending it flying. Phew. Liam collapses, gasping for air and covered in sweat. Zeke is furious and grabs him by the collar again. "Have you lost your goddamn mind?" he screams. "What were you gonna do if I didn't keep my word after that?" Liam looks away, ashamed. "It's because I might lose something way more important to me than my arm." Zeke casually lets go. "If you ever pull a stunt this dumb again, I'm tossing you out myself." Liam's face absolutely lights up. He passed the test. "Lord Zeke, then does that mean—" "Hurry up," Zeke says. "Can't have my subordinate running around with a missing ear, can I?" Liam snaps to attention, overjoyed. Later, the two are sitting in a ridiculously fancy dining hall. Liam is staring at a little potion vial. He touches his perfectly healed ear. "Are you sure it's okay for me to use this? It's so valuable." Zeke just tells him to think of it as an investment. Zeke puts his cup down. Time for the big question. "So what is it? What could you possibly value more than your own life?" Liam clenches his fists on the table. "It's my mother." He explains that after Jaken cast him out, his mother collapsed from a high fever. The fever is gone, but now her body is covered in strange, rose-like red spots. She's getting weaker every day and no one knows what's wrong. "So why Valhalla?" Zeke asks. Liam explains that the academy gives its students and their families access to the best medical care in the world. Zeke picks up a quill and you can see the gears turning in his head. Rose-like red spots, periodic high fevers. Wait a minute. He knows this disease, because in 5 years, this exact illness, the rose disease, is going to become a full-blown plague across the continent, claiming countless lives before it's over. Thankfully, a radical new treatment will eventually be discovered, bringing the nightmare pandemic to an end. And with the knowledge from his past life, Zeke slides a piece of paper across the table. It's the formula for that exact cure. Liam is grateful, but also super confused. The healers didn't even know the disease's name. "How could you possibly know this, my lord?" Zeke recalls how two genius alchemist brothers, Al and Jeff, invented the cure. When the greedy Alchemists Association tried to monopolize it, the brothers released it for free. The knowledge became so common that even a warrior like him knew it, but to Liam he just plays it cool and says, "Let's just say I know an alchemist." Zeke points out that, with the cure, Liam has no reason to go to Valhalla anymore or to serve him. Liam immediately shoots to his feet. Not at all, Liam declares with a grim face. My life already belongs to you, Lord Zeke. He slams his fist on the table and bows his head low. I swear my lifelong loyalty to you, my lord. Talk about dedication. An oath of loyalty. Zeke just smirks. Having the future mercenary king as his personal subordinate? Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. Zeke lays down the ground rules for his new minion. Keep up with his training or get left in the dust. Liam is more than happy to agree. Meanwhile, in his super fancy office at the academy, Owen Zimmons is paying the dean a visit. Owen cuts right to the chase, asking the dean what he thinks about making this semester's exams a little more challenging. The dean asks for a reason, and Owen just smirks, explaining that this year's crop of first years is completely stacked with talent. He points out that with kids from all the great families and 2 pure-blood awakeners, the current exams would be an absolute joke for them. Impressed by his logic, the dean agrees to consider the proposal. A grateful Owen bows deeply before taking his leave. As soon as Owen is gone, the dean lets out a long sigh and leans back in his chair. He muses to himself, well, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. That boy thinks so much like him, so very cryptic. His thoughts suddenly darken as he decides that to prevent any future problems, it's best to nip them in the bud right now. Alright folks, it's exam day at Draker Academy, and their final is a little something called Dungeon Exploration. The rules are simple. Grab a buddy, get tossed into a random dungeon, and try not to get unalived before the timer runs out. Easy peasy. Zeke, looking way too calm for this, checks on his new sidekick. He asks Liam if he's nervous. Liam basically admits he's about to wet his pants, and Zeke hits him with some classic protagonist wisdom. A little tension is good, he says. Sure, dude. So everyone's waiting around for their names to get called. Finally, it's showtime for Zeke Draker and Liam Stone. Zeke gives the nod, and Liam snaps to attention like a perfectly trained puppy. Yes, my lord. A bit much, but okay. But wait, just as they're about to head in, some random instructor puts on the brakes. Something feels shady already, and he points them to a different entrance. You know, the one that looks like it leads directly to hell. Totally not a setup. Yep, look at that smirk. This guy is 100% up to no good as he watches our boys walk into the spooky death cave. Zeke can tell something's wrong, but the instructor just shoos him along like he's late for a villain meeting. Our boy already knows the game is rigged and he is here for it. And so, into the sketchy dungeon they go, with Mr. Shady watching from behind. Once inside, we get the official rules. They have 96 hours to escape this pitch-black nightmare. You can grind for extra points by collecting monster heads, but the main quest is just, surviving. Fail to escape, and you get a big fat F. No pressure at all. Sometime later, they've made camp. Zeke tells Liam to get some rest, but Liam's worried because Zeke has basically been carrying the entire team. Zeke just brushes it off, claiming he doesn't need sleep for 4 days. What a Chad. Liam doesn't argue and hits the hay. So with his sidekick snoring in the tent, Zeke takes the first watch by the fire. He checks his watch and does the math. 3 days of non-stop training plus 16 hours in this dungeon, that's 90 hours without sleep. Yikes. See, his infinite stamina skill is great for his body, but it does absolutely nothing for his brain. Mental exhaustion is a real debuff. And in a place crawling with things that want to eat you, letting your brain turn to mush is a huge risk. So, thinking smart for once, he rigs up a little tripwire alarm with some bells. A classic low-tech solution. His plan is to keep watch for a little while longer, then wake up Liam to pull his weight. But then, he hears a different bell. And just like that, his eyes get heavy. My dude is finally crashing. He's not just sleepy, folks. He's being pulled into a full-blown flashback from his past life. We get flashes of a snowy battlefield, a banner with a golden bird, and a misty mountain. And then the main event. A woman with white hair falls in battle, covered in blood. Her sword hits the ground with a clang. Bam! Zeke snaps awake, gasping for air. Welcome back from your PTSD trip, buddy. He's back by the fire, heart hammering in his chest. That dream again, he thinks. Looks like this isn't a one-time thing. He tries to wipe the nightmare from his face, but we all know that's not how it works. And then it clicks. The bell sound. That wasn't from the dream. That was real. His alarm. In a split second, he uses his magic to kill the campfire, plunging them into total darkness. Smart move. He shakes Liam awake. Enemy attack. You stay put, I'll go see what's up. Zeke slips into the shadows, deciding against using his glowing dragon eyes skill. Probably doesn't want to be a walking flashlight for whatever's out there. His nose picks up a nasty smell. Sulfur. And his brain immediately goes, oh no, not these guys, because that smell can only mean one thing. A pack of rank 3 hellhounds. This is bad. In the original timeline, the final boss was a single orc. Whole pack of hellhounds is way off script for a school exam. He listens closer to the footsteps, but something's not right. These things are way too heavy to be hellhounds. The ground is literally shaking, He estimates whatever is coming weighs several tons. Is it some kind of mutant? The crap meter is off the charts. His eyes start glowing as he realizes just how screwed they are. This is completely insane. And boom, a massive shockwave blasts him off his feet, sending him flying. He manages to stop himself by stabbing his sword into the floor just as Liam rushes over to check on him. Zeke already knows who's behind this. The Simmons family. His rivals are clearly trying to delete him from the server. A giant hellhound steps out of the shadows looking mean. But wait, my friends, that's just the appetizer. Because a massive hand just grabs the doggy and pops its head like a water balloon, and out steps a monstrous troll. Our boys go back to back, swords out. Yeah, this isn't a test anymore. This is straight up an assassination attempt. Liam is completely losing it. A troll? He stammers. Yes, Liam, a big ugly one. For context, trolls are rank 1 monsters. They eat hellhounds for breakfast and have a healing factor that would make Wolverine jealous. Seeing how boned they are, Liam steps up to play the hero. I'll be the decoy. My lord, you have to escape. Zeke just grabs his shoulder, shutting that down immediately. Don't say depressing stuff like that. He steps in front of Liam as a dark aura starts swirling around him. What kind of lord abandons his people? Time for the main character power-up. He gives Liam the pep talk of a lifetime. Believe in yourself, Liam. You're not weak. Then he hits him with a confident smirk. I've got your back. Now go nuts. And it works. Liam is fully hyped up now, grinning from ear to ear. Thank you, my lord. With a mighty roar, Liam charges the troll. He zips past its slow attacks, landing a whole bunch of clean hits. Zeke watches from the side, pretty impressed. His glowing purple eyes are scanning Liam's every move like a coach watching game tape. He sees that Liam isn't just flailing around, he's expertly targeting the monster's joints. This kid definitely studied for the exam. But skill alone isn't going to cut it. The troll roars in anger and brings its giant club arm down for the kill. And just in time, Zeke swoops in. He shoves Liam out of the way and blocks the massive hit with his own sword. What a save. They both jump back to make some space as the troll keeps swinging wildly. Liam starts apologizing, but Zeke cuts him off. It's fine, he says. Not bad for your first real fight. Then Zeke points out the big mistake in Liam's plan. He completely forgot about the troll's insane healing factor. And right on cue, all of Liam's hard work disappears as the troll's wounds heal instantly. Zeke sighs, okay, this might be a bit above your pay grade. His eyes flash as he grips his sword. So I'll finish it. Looks like the main event is about to begin. With the troll finally down, Zeke gets a little notification. 30 karma points. Not bad for a warm-up, I guess. Of course, Zeke isn't about to let good loot go to waste. He tells Liam to grab the troll's head for some extra exam points. Gotta get that bread. But just as they're about to pack up and leave, another system window pops up, catching Zeke by surprise. Oh? What's this now? A sudden quest appears, 2 birds, 1 stone. He has to hunt 100 monsters of 10 different species, and the reward? Double karma points. Now that is a spicy meatball. The quest is already live, and the clock is ticking. He's got just under 72 hours to pull it off. No pressure, right? Zeke checks the time. Killing 100 monsters? Fight. That's the easy part. But finding 10 different species, now that's the real challenge. See, a normal exam dungeon would only have maybe 4 types of monsters tops. This whole situation is a little bit fishy. But then he remembers the Simmons set this whole thing up as a trap. He figures they must have packed this place full of surprises. Well, their little trap just became his personal XP farm. A few hours later, Liam finishes packing up all the monster drops into his collection bag. It's not a fancy subspace pocket, but it gets the job done. All right, let's go, Zeke says. Already heading deeper. Don't fall behind, Liam. We've got a lot of hunting to do. And so the grind begins. Hour after hour, they absolutely tear through hordes of monsters, racking up those kills. The clock just keeps ticking down as they face beast after beast. The dungeon floor gets littered with bodies as they press on without a single break. Finally taking a breather, Zeke asks Liam if he's getting used to real combat. Liam's still not sure, but Zeke says it just takes time. A little mentor-mentee moment, how sweet. With less than an hour to go, they are so close. 99 monsters, 9 species, but that last species is just gone, nowhere to be found. He sighs in frustration. Those Simmons really are useless, he mutters. Seriously, if you're gonna set a trap, at least do it right and throw in 1 more monster type. And right on cue, the ground starts to shake violently. Uh-oh, looks like someone heard his complaint. Zeke immediately shouts at Liam, drop the bag. But Liam just freezes, totally confused. Kid, when the protag yells, you listen. Boom. Before he can even react, a massive creature bursts from the earth right underneath him, sending him and his bag flying. Blood splatters on the ground. The sheer force of the eruption knocks Zeke back, and all Liam can do is watch in absolute horror. Liam rushes over, but Zeke is already on his feet, wiping blood from his arm. Don't worry, it's the monster's blood, he says coolly. Just watch this time, Liam. The creature fully emerges. A colossal worm with a maw full of teeth. Zeke turns his full attention to the beast, telling Liam he's going to be a little preoccupied. A dungeon worm. This is not good, folks. A monster this dangerous usually takes a team of 8 elite purple knights. He thinks, damn you Zimmons, you really went all out. As the worm lunges, Liam screams out a warning, his face a mask of terror. But then, his expression shifts to pure determination as he reaches into his bag. Zeke meets the attack head-on, jamming his sword into the creature's mouth to hold its jaws open like a dental appointment from heck. He knows this is the worst place to fight a dungeon worm. Even a blue knight would nope right out of here because these things literally chew through solid rock as they move. If he can't finish this fight quickly, the entire cavern is going to collapse and bury him alive. The stakes could not be higher. The worm thrashes violently, tossing Zeke like a rag doll and gashing his side with its razor-sharp teeth. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. Gritting his teeth, Zeke's eyes begin to glow with a menacing purple light as he channels his power. I'll cut you in half, he screams. He lands hard, cracking the very stone beneath his feet, but the giant worm is too fast. It wraps its body around him, squeezing with immense pressure. He tries to fight back, but its hide is like solid iron. As he struggles, a spiked tendril shoots out and impales him right through the shoulder. Just then, Liam makes his move, throwing his own sword with all his might. It finds its mark, embedding itself deep in the worm's tough skin. Zeke feels the crushing pressure ease up slightly. Liam's attack is having some kind of effect on the massive beast. But how? Zeke lands on the creature's back. What did you do, Liam? And Liam holds up a small bottle. I applied an anesthetic to my sword. Zeke's eyes widen in understanding. Belladonna. For a human, it's just a mild sedative, but for a creature like this, it's a lethal poison. In a moment of crisis, Liam remembered that worms were vulnerable to belladonna and used the anesthetic as a makeshift poison. Zeke is seriously impressed. This kid is a keeper. He gives Liam his next order. When I give the signal, stab it with that sword again. A smirk plays on his lips. Taking this kid on was definitely the right call. With the worm weakened, Zeke goes on the offensive. He runs along the creature's massive body like it's a highway, his sword glowing with dark energy. Zeke sprints up the worm's massive body, his sword pulsing with dark energy. He screams, Liam, signaling the next move. With a furious roar, he plunges his blade deep into the monster's tough hide. The worm recoils in agony, just in time for Liam to land another perfectly aimed, poison-laced sword right in its gaping maw. Bullseye. This is it. Channeling his power, Zeke's eyes glow as he unleashes a new technique, soul manifestation. A brilliant beam of purple light erupts from within the beast as Zeke spins through the air, his blade a vortex of pure destruction. He activates his skill, Lacerate. The attack is absolutely devastating, tearing through the worm's head and shredding it into a bloody mist. Gross, but very effective. He lands without a scratch, his sword gleaming, the colossal threat now just a memory. Talk about a flawless victory. And just like that, the system dings. Quest complete, karma points doubled, and 2 random boxes as a bonus, bringing his new total to 780. With the dungeon exam finally over, a booming voice echoes across the courtyard. It's time for report cards, folks. An instructor steps forward, and just like that, every student snaps to attention. Let the grading begin. Reina's up first, 30 points just for crawling out alive, plus 180 points for a whole collection of monster heads. The other cadets are totally blown away. They're whispering that this score is almost as high as Abel's legendary record. Reina gets a pat on the back for easily clearing the 130-point pass mark. And next up, it's Owen Zimmons. He looks way too disappointed for someone who scored 120 points. He stares at Reina Turun, thinking she won't be so cocky for long. His scowl turns into a smirk. He'll just take care of her if she becomes a problem. You know, the same way he tried to take care of Zeke. This guy is a walking red flag. But just then, a weary voice cuts through the crowd. Man, how long has it been since we've seen the sun? Oh, you know who that is. Owen absolutely freezes. He knows that voice. You can see the pure panic on his face. Bam! A colossal dungeon worm head crashes into the courtyard. And who's standing on top of it? Zeke and Liam, cool as you like. Owen is just speechless. The other cadets are losing their minds. Dungeon worms were not even on the exam playlist. These things are way stronger than orcs. Zeke smirks down at Owen, who looks like he's seen a ghost. You seem pretty surprised, he says. He leans in, twisting the knife. Are you that happy to see me? All Owen can do is grit his teeth and fume. Zeke just keeps going, asking what happened to his poker face. Then he drops the coldest line, well, this look suits you more anyway. And with that mic drop, Zeke just turns and walks away, leaving a fuming Owen in his dust. Absolute savage. Owen is practically vibrating with rage. He glares at Zeke's back, screaming in his head about those damn purebloods and how he will make them pay. As Owen and his little crew storm off, Zeke just watches them go. He knows exactly what he just did. Alright, now it's our hero's turn. Zeke and Liam step up to the grading table where instructor Andre is waiting. Zeke just points at the giant worm head. I don't have anything but this guy. But Andre is a stickler for the rules. He pulls on some gloves ready for a full inspection. Andre asks if the worm ate his bag of monster heads, and Zeke, with a perfectly straight face, just goes, "That's correct." The other cadets are on the edge of their seats watching Andre get to work. This is better than reality TV. Zeke is playing it cool, but man is he lucky. He knows Andre is the type to check every single detail for evidence. Andre starts digging around in the worm's teeth, pulling out bits of flesh and gore. Yikes. Finally, he takes off his blood-stained gloves. He starts listing his findings. The monsters I have currently confirmed are gremlins, goblins, and hobgoblins, hellhounds, and orcs, and finally, a troll. The crowd erupts. A troll? A freaking troll was in there too? This exam was definitely rigged. Andre decides he will just count each species as one kill, since counting every single one would be insane. And even though the troll and dungeon worm are not on the official list, he gives them massive point values based on how tough they are. This is getting good. The final score? A jaw-dropping 368 points. You pass. You think. The other instructors are completely floored. They can't believe the exam had hellhounds, let alone a troll and a dungeon worm. This thing was seriously broken. The cadets are just murmuring in disbelief. Is a score that high even possible? He broke the game. One of Owen's lackeys tries to cry foul, but another student immediately shuts him down. He points out the worm alone is worth 180 points. Do the math, buddy. Then, a senior cadet steps forward to silence the haters. He asks them to really think about it. If they were staring down a dungeon worm or a troll, would you be able to fight against it? The crowd is left wondering, was Zeke Draker always this much of a beast? Or is this something new? Zeke hears them whispering and can't help but notice the change. They're not laughing at him anymore. He admits, it does not feel half bad. Still, he knows he's put a giant spotlight on himself. Again, this guy cannot stay low profile for 5 minutes. He thinks back to Owen rigging the dungeon. There's no way that was Owen's idea alone. The guy does not have the guts. This means the entire Zimmons family might be involved. Suddenly, Zeke realizes he is being watched way more closely than he thought. For now, all he can do is play along and see what happens next. The game is on. As he is walking away, someone calls his name. It is Reina, and she is walking right toward him. Here we go. She just brushes right past him and says, "You win this time." That is it. No explanation. Zeke is left completely baffled. I win? Win what? Our boy is so dense sometimes. Later, Zeke is chilling alone in a big hall and pulls up his system menu. He's sitting on a cool 780 karma points. He spots a draconian skill he ignored before, gluttony. It only costs 50 points, which is pocket change for him now. The system pops up the big question. Draconian skill. Will you activate gluttony? Without even thinking about it, he hits sure. But as the skill activates, he's shocked. The description is completely different from what he remembers. Oh, did he get a bootleg version? Nope, it is an upgrade. This new gluttony lets him eat literally anything for energy and even absorb the abilities of monsters he consumes. That is just broken. A wicked grin spreads across his face. He can absorb monster abilities? He is kicking himself for not unlocking this before the exam. Imagine the loot. He decides to test out the energy conversion part and pulls out a piece of jerky. The moment he activates the skill, something completely unexpected happens. This is not just eating. A dark, shadowy substance pours out of him, completely engulfing the jerky on the floor. He just watches as the shadow swallows the jerky like it is sinking into a bog. Creepy, but cool. Suddenly, whoosh, a wave of golden energy surrounds him. A notification confirms he has recovered energy. It worked. And his nagging migraine from all that mental exhaustion? Poof, gone instantly. It is more than that. His entire body feels brand new. Mental fatigue, physical fatigue, and even his ether have all been restored to 100%. He realizes this skill was an absolute steal for 50 points and immediately starts feeding it more jerky. Keep the gains coming. He laughs to himself. With gluttony for mental fatigue and infinite stamina for the physical side, he is basically unstoppable now. This means he can grind 24 hours a day without ever needing to eat or sleep. The ultimate no-lifer build. But just as he is about to start his epic training montage, he gets interrupted. You can see the pure annoyance on his face. He sighs, turning to his servant. Decker, did not I tell you not to disturb me when I am in the training hall? Decker apologizes but explains that he has come with important news. Your sword has been completed. Zeke's face lights up with a feral grin. Finally, it is time for his new toy. Zeke arrives at Galleon's workshop, announcing he is here to pick up his new sword. As he waits, he remembers the sword Galleon made for him in his past life, the legendary Sword of Radiance Graham. It was a famous blade made of mithril and pure iron, an absolute masterpiece that everyone recognized. But this time, he gave the blacksmith a dragon fang. He is expecting something like Graham, but on a whole other level. However, as the case opens, what's inside is not at all what he expected. This thing looks evil. Zeke gets his hands on his newly forged sword. And wow, it looks like a massive, unrefined hunk of jagged dark metal. Not exactly a museum piece, is it? He looks it over and asks Galleon, "Hey my guy, did you forget to sharpen this thing? It's basically a very expensive club at this point." Galleon just confirms it with a straight face. "Yep, it's supposed to be that way. A blunt instrument for a blunt guy, I guess." But Zeke gets it instantly. "So that means this is the sword that you believe suits me best," he says, and Galleon agrees. "It's a sword made for smashing, not slicing." Galleon is super impressed. He knew this kid wasn't just some musclehead, he actually understood the artistic vision. The blacksmith then reveals there's one tiny problem: the sword is still nameless. He just couldn't think of one that fit its chaotic energy. So he puts the pressure on Zeke to give it a name, which catches our boy completely by surprise. Zeke's mind flashes back to his past life, where Galleon himself proudly named the legendary blade Graham the Sword of Radiance. Now that's a cool name, and this confirms it for him. He thought would be getting just a modified Graham, but nope, this is an entirely new custom-built weapon. Thinking it over, Zeke does something completely unhinged. He pulls out a knife and slices his own arm open, right in front of a horrified Galleon. He focuses his power, thinking that even though his healing factor is passive, he should be able to turn it off on command. A little biohacking. The system notification confirms his request, temporarily pausing the skill. I wish I could pause my notifications that easily. And it works. The wound on his arm doesn't heal itself instantly. Zeke holds his wound over the sword, letting his blood drip all over it. Galleon's jaw hits the floor as he realizes what's happening. Could this be the sword naming ritual? It's an ancient dwarven rite where the owner infuses their blood with energy and drips it onto a weapon to name it. Pretty metal, right? The ritual plunges the user deep into their subconscious to find the weapon's one true name. It's like a soul-searching road trip, but way more dangerous. Galleon can't believe his eyes. The rite was forgotten because of how risky it is. How in the world does Zeke know about it? Meanwhile, Zeke's mind drifts into a dark, watery void filled with glowing red characters swirling all around him like a cryptic word soup. He knows that out of these countless names spinning around him, he has to choose just one for his new sword. No pressure at all. Then everything goes silent. He finds himself standing alone in the center of a black, perfectly still pool of water. From the shadows, a name finally emerges: the Stygian Blade, Bahamut. Now that is an epic name. A system notification chimes in, confirming the registration. The Stygian Blade Bahamut is now officially online. Zeke snaps back to reality with his eyes glowing an intense red. The workshop is suddenly filled with spectral blades of crimson energy. Talk about making an entrance. He immediately wonders if his subconscious is okay after picking the name of an evil dragon. That's a very valid concern, my friend. Galleon is absolutely losing his mind. But Zeke just brushes it off, claiming he read about the whole thing in a history book. Yeah, sure you did. The blacksmith, totally energized by the spectacle, tells Zeke he has one more thing to give him and rushes off like an excited kid. While waiting, Zeke thinks about his new ability to suppress his passive healing. He realizes this is a massive advantage for him. This means he can avoid close calls like the one with Duke Draker and keep his true powers a secret. Finally, some strategy. But for now, it is time to check out the stats on his brand new toy. Let's see what this baby can do. The system window pops up. Its properties are indestructible and aura conversion, with a special note that its full power is sealed and will unlock as he gets stronger. A weapon that levels up with him. He has never heard of anything like it. And it's indestructible too? This thing is completely broken. But the most important part, the entire reason he went through all this trouble, is its final property, aura conversion. He recalls that this specific ability was the absolute key to his overwhelming power in his past life. This was the whole point. The property converts any energy he channels into it, whether it is mana or ether or anything else, into pure, unadulterated aura. As he grips the hilt, a powerful blue aura erupts from the blade. For someone born unable to use aura, this sword is his everything. It's what allowed him to reach the level of a Black Knight. Just then, Galleon returns and freezes in his tracks, his jaw dropping at the incredible sight before him. Aura? He stammers out. The sword is just wrapped in this brilliant, clear blue energy. Zeke has already achieved something that even elite purple knights struggle with. You've made a truly absurd sword, Zeke says with a massive grin. Beaming with pride, Galleon says it is nothing. Then he presents his gift to Zeke, a sheath. But this is not just any old sheath. This one was personally crafted by Galleon's own legendary master. Zeke examines the intricate golden sheath and tries to sound out the dwarven runes etched into it. Golan, Joe, Bert. The name suddenly clicks, and his eyes widen in disbelief. Golan Jobert, as in the absolute pinnacle of blacksmithing? Golan Jobert is a living legend, the greatest blacksmith on the entire continent, a master craftsman whose skills are completely unrivaled. His creations are basically perfect, imbued with special abilities, and rich collectors will pay hundreds of gold coins just to own one. Zeke stares at the blacksmith, astounded. So you were Galen's disciple? Galleon just grins, impressed that Zeke can even read the dwarven language. A sly look crosses Zeke's face. Of course, and knowing it is from Galen, there is no way this is just a simple sheath. Galleon shows him a dial near the opening. With a quick turn, the golden sheath spectacularly unfolds and transforms into a large kite shield. Okay, that's awesome. He explains it is made from mithril and wyvern bones, so it is incredibly tough. A quick twist of the handle on the back, and it reverts to a sheath. This is nothing compared to the grace you have shown me, sir, Galleon says, offering it to him. Please take it. It is my gift to you. Zeke jokes that he could have just sold it to fund his furnace, but Galleon laughs heartily. I can't sell my master's works to just anyone. Zeke smirks, thinking it is probably worth several hundred gold coins. Hearing this, Galleon stammers in shock, realizing its true value. Zeke gratefully accepts the gift anyway. He holds his new sword, Bahamut, and notes how small the sheath looks in comparison to the massive blade. But he knows that if it is Golan Jobert's work, it is bound to be special. He slides the huge blade into the sheath's tiny opening. With a burst of golden light, the sheath expands and reconfigures itself, perfectly encasing the blade. Zeke grins, totally thrilled. I knew it. It far exceeds expectations. Zeke thanks Galleon for the incredible gift. The blacksmith is just happy Zeke likes his new gear. With that, Zeke departs from the workshop. Back at the academy, Zeke inspects another prize he got from that last dungeon escapade, a pair of gauntlets. Meteoric iron, that is an incredibly rare material. He checks the item information. They are part of a set, and their special properties will only activate when he is wearing the complete meteoric iron armor. Gotta catch 'em all. He recalls getting them from one of 2 random loot boxes he received as a quest reward. The first box contains something far more valuable than he hoped for. Now it is time to check what is behind door number 2. He opens it. A bright light flashes from within, and Zeke stares down into the box, completely baffled by its contents. What is this? Zeke pops open his loot box and finds an old piece of paper. He's wondering what this mysterious item could possibly be. And bam! The system chimes in. Turns out this dusty old map has traces of someone named Grand Master Kaiser. The name Kaiser jogs his memory. He's thinking, wait a minute, could they mean the legendary hero King Kaiser? Alright, the famous legend of hero King Kaiser and the Knights of the Clock Tower. Classic bedtime story stuff. Their whole epic tale about founding the kingdom of Cronoses is basically the most popular book on the entire continent. But here's the catch. The story is so over the top and has zero historical proof, so everyone just writes it off as total fiction. Clutching the map, it finally clicks for our boy Zeke. He's like, so the Hero King was real this whole time. Right on cue, the system starts doing its thing, restoring and analyzing the beat-up map. Gotta love that instant tech support. A holographic minimap pops up, pointing straight to a spot in the Giant Mountains dungeon. Very convenient. Zeke notes that it's barbarian territory. He's thinking this will be way easier than he expected. Famous last words, my friend. But just as he's getting cocky, another system message appears. The tutorial is officially over. The tutorial will be concluded? Our boy is totally confused by the sudden graduation announcement. Then the system drops another bomb. The map is a potential quest item and a brand new achievement quest pops up. And there it is. Zeke finally gets it. The tutorial was just the system's way of grinding him up to a decent level. A huge grin spreads across his face. No more baby steps, he thinks. The real game is starting now. He checks the reward. A promotion to intermediate administrator. Yeah, that's a whole different league from the tutorial quests. Okay. I see how it is, he says, his smile turning into a greedy smirk. I'm gonna claim every last bit of it. First order of business, time to go on a shopping spree with all those points he's been hoarding. 2 new skills are available, Dragon Scale Armor for magic resistance and Dragon Claws for a big-time punch. Both cost a hefty 80 points. He's got points to spare, but he knows getting another stash like this won't be easy. So he invests in the 2 new skills and saves the rest. Smart move for once. With a quick tap, he activates both Dragon Scale Armor and Dragon Claw. Let's see what these new toys can do. First up, he decides to test out Dragon Claw. Let's see the damage report. He smashes the ground and whoosh. A massive wave of energy rips the training hall floor to shreds. Talk about redecorating. Peeking through the crater he just made, he can't help but laugh. This is way better than I thought. Next, he activates his other new skill, Dragon Scale Armor. Time for a little self-inflicted durability test. He brings his colossal sword down on his own arm, and bam, it just bounces right off without a single scratch. He's completely stunned. It's like wearing full-plate armor when he's not wearing anything. What a broken ability. Dragon Claw for offense, Dragon scale armor for defense, simple and deadly. I'm warmed up now, he says. Let's continue. We cut to the Draker Academy Central Training Hall, right before the big semester exam. An instructor is laying down the rules. The students have to destroy these special training dummies that are basically immune to physical attacks. And to prove his point, he effortlessly slices a dummy's head clean off with an aura-infused blade. Show off. The stakes are insane. If you can't even dent a dummy, you fail everything. All your other exams get voided, and you're back to square one. The students start whispering nervously. This means they're not advancing. The instructor just yells at them to shut up and starts the exam. Owen Zimmons, however, is watching with a smug look. He's thinking about how his family basically invented the Academy's aura training. He's absolutely certain that no one, not even a pure-blood awakener, can touch his level of aura control. Someone's a little full of himself. When his name is called, Owen steps up with a confident smile, gripping his sword like he's the main character. He plants his foot and unleashes a massive torrent of blue aura. The whole place starts humming with his power. A student gasps, identifying the technique as sword resonance. Everyone is stunned a 13-year-old can pull this off. Owen unleashes his attack. A blinding wave of energy slices right through the first dummy, and the next. He tears through every single dummy on the floor. As the dust settles, Owen is just standing there amidst the wreckage, looking extremely pleased with himself. Of course he is. His classmates immediately cheer. You're incredible. You'll even surpass Sir Abel. But the second they mention Abel, Owen's confident smirk just vanishes. His whole mood darkens instantly. One of his buddies tries to grab his shoulder, but Owen viciously slaps his hand away. Yikes, someone's got issues. His followers are totally confused. They're wondering why he's acting so weird and ill-mannered all of a sudden. The exam goes on, one nervous student after another steps up. The instructors can see that everyone is completely intimidated by Owen's insane performance. He really set the bar a little too high. Still, they notice that every single student in the special class manages to use at least a little bit of aura. These kids are built different. But even in a class full of geniuses, there are always a few who are on a completely different planet. Raina Tarun steps forward and a faint blue aura starts flaring up around her. She has a special request for the instructor. He just looks down at her and asks, "What is it?" With an intense look, Raina announces, "I wish to be graded according to the dragon-slaying arts." Oh, she's going for the expert mode. The instructor notes that's for high-rank cadets, but Owen scoffs from the side, saying her conceit knows no bounds now that she's a pure blood. He thinks to himself that just holding aura in a sword is hard enough. Dragon-slaying arts require constant, precise adjustments. It's a whole other level of skill. Owen smirks, convinced she'll only last a swing or two. He's thinking, you'll screw yourself over just to compete with me, Raina Tarun. The instructor warns her the penalty for failure is way harsher. Raina doesn't even flinch. I am ready. With a sigh, the instructor agrees. Raina gives him a polite bow, thanking him for the chance to flex. She draws her sword and bam! A brilliant blue light erupts from the blade, humming with an insane amount of power. The other students, including a now-shocked Owen, just stare as she holds the glowing sword high above her head. In a single, devastating motion, she brings the sword down, shattering the first dummy to pieces. But she doesn't stop there. A storm of slashes erupts from her, a whirlwind of pure blue energy that tears through the entire hall. The attacks crisscross through the air, leaving nothing but dust and destruction in their path. It's a light show of doom. When the light finally fades, every single dummy in the training hall is completely gone. Raina is just standing there, calm as ever. The other cadets are speechless. One guy murmurs, "I can't even feel rivalry with her." Another adds, "I thought Owen was the best, but he's not even close." Owen's face is just a mask of pure rage and disbelief. He is internally screaming his head off right now. Raina calmly sheathes her sword. From above, you can see she's just surrounded by the obliterated remains of her targets. What a flex. She turns her head slightly, her gaze fixed on someone in the crowd. What's with that? Owen thinks. Are you mocking me? Owen, naturally assuming she's talking to him, starts sweating bullets. The guy is absolutely terrified. But surprise. Raina wasn't looking at him at all. From the very beginning, her eyes were locked on someone else. And who is it? Of course, it's Zeke Draker, smirking with his massive new sword. She had zero interest in Owen and never saw him as a rival at all. Zeke stands amidst the wreckage of Raina's test, looking way too pleased with himself. He even has the nerve to say, "What a mess." Of course, he can feel Raina's death stare from across the room. And you just do not ignore a look like that, my friend. Time to meet expectations and show off a little. He raises his hand and asks the instructor to grade him on the dragon-slaying arts too. The new instructor cannot believe the audacity. He asks Zeke if he's making fun of the arts just because Raina made it look easy. But another instructor cuts him off, confirming the conditions are the same. Zeke just grins like a total maniac and says, "Of course. The new instructor is completely lost. He's wondering why this kid is even allowed to participate when he's never once shown up for class. The senior instructor explains that Zeke won a bet with instructor Andre, earning him a pass. This guy is so out of the loop. He goes on to list off Zeke's legendary stats, the unheard-of Golden Light Awakening and breaking Sir Abel's dungeon record. That's him, the instructor concludes. Zeke Draker. Back on the floor, Zeke closes his eyes and starts to concentrate. Suddenly, a powerful purple energy begins to swirl around him. A system notification pops up, folks. His sword, the Stygian Blade Bahamut, has detected his ether and is activating its inherent ability, Aura Conversion. His unique ether is being forcefully converted into raw aura. Apparently, this is something nobody thought was even possible. Boom. The massive blade is suddenly engulfed in a raging torrent of brilliant blue energy. He grits his teeth, and you can see he's finding it difficult to harness this newfound power. It's not as easy as it looks, and just like that, he gets it under control. All right, he says, this much aura should be enough. Reina's eyes widen in absolute shock. Zeke raises the glowing blade high, preparing to unleash his attack. Dragon Slaying Arts Chapter 1, First Verse, Sky Slice Stance. Reina is completely stunned. His form is perfect. It's not just comparable to hers, it's on the same level as their instructor. The massive glowing blade carves through the air, slicing every single training dummy clean in half. Of course it's perfect. In his past life, Zeke practiced the dragon slaying art so much he could probably do it in his sleep. His movements, his positioning, his footwork, even the flow of his aura, it's all pure muscle memory for our boy. He finishes the stance with a powerful stomp, letting out a satisfied breath. Nailed it. He admits he was bored of these basics, but starting over is not so bad. Besides, this should be enough to get a rise out of Reina. The other cadets can hardly believe their eyes. A massive sword wrapped in aura? Does that mean Zeke is on the level of a purple knight? Zeke breaks a sweat, suddenly realizing he might have gotten a little too absorbed in the moment. Whoops. The result is undeniable, though. The training dummies are not just cut, they are completely obliterated. His aura leaked out, far exceeding his plan. Darn it, he thinks, annoyed. Looks like I'll end up standing out again. Oh, the tragedy. The instructors are speechless. A first-year cadet who is already a purple knight? That is completely unheard of. Across the room, Owen Zimmons trembles with a mix of pure fury and fear. He is not having a good day. Reina, on the other hand, clenches her fist before breaking into a wide, predatory grin. She has finally found a real rival. Later on, Zeke sits in the dean's office. Howard Draker remarks on his surprising exam results, but Zeke just brushes it off as luck. The dean scoffs. A 13-year-old reaching Purple Knight level is not luck. He then gets to the point. How do you feel about taking the grade advancement exam? Zeke asks if this means he can skip a grade. The dean confirms it could be 1, or even more, depending on his performance. Perfect. The dean took the bait faster than he expected. With a smirk, Zeke agrees. I'll do it. As he leaves the office, Zeke knows the dean has something planned, but that is fine by him. He will just play along for now. Back in the office, the dean is informed that both purebloods Reina and Zeke have decided to take the exam. The dean confirms he will take the necessary measures. A smile spreads across his face. Things are getting interesting now. Over at the upper-class Aura training hall, Reina and Zeke are waiting for their instructor to arrive. At least pretend you are not staring at me, he thinks. Geez, how awkward. Suddenly, a figure steps into the hall. He is the examiner and upper-class knight from the main family, Sir Owl Draker. Zeke's eyes widen in shock and recognition. He knows this man. He is the infamous dieback blade. A grim memory flashes through his mind, a war-torn wasteland where Owl Draker carried the limp body of a fallen comrade. In that past life, a battle-hardened Zeke confronted him. A Draker, he had asked, his voice full of contempt. What's a dog of the Empire doing here? The memory ends with the image of Owl Draker, the fearsome knight, collapsing to his knees in utter grief beside the body of his friend. Zeke pauses. They're on a graveyard of fallen soldiers, where Owl Draker digs a grave. Suddenly, a shovel lands beside Owl. Shall I help you? Zeke asks. Owl ignores him, but Zeke says he will just do it anyway and starts digging. What a guy. Back then, Zeke used an alias, introducing himself as Zeke Murray of the Northern Allied Forces. He asks the man if he is a Draker. Owl gives a sharp no, clarifying that he left the family. When asked for a name, he tells Zeke to just call him by his title, Dieback Blade. The memory fades and Zeke is back in the exam hall. So that is Owl. The name definitely fits the grim man he remembers. Snapping out of his thoughts, he and Reina give their formal greetings. An upper-class knights for a first-year exam? That's unexpected. These guys are the real pillars of the Draker family. They are the elite of the elite, possessing power, renown, and experience in equal measure. Owl lays down the rules. A simple sword fight. It is over when one side gives up or gets knocked out, so they better give it their all. Reina, ever the eager one, immediately steps up to go first. Of course she does. But Owl stops her. No, he